and run.
Yeah.
So that's how I see the occult, because occult is just hidden.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're just putting different lenses in
Yeah.
to be able to, well, what am I comfortable? How am I comfortable within the environment that I'm trying to express myself in?
Yeah.
So that could be the genre of music, that could be the genre of poetry, or creating t-shirts or what, the things that you do. Like the designs that you put on. What is cut-ups?
Some of it, yeah. I'll do montages and stuff like that.
Yeah, montages. That's a big word for me.
We are recording now, by the way.
Are we?
All right.
No, sorry.
No, it's all right. Carry on.
So,
Yeah, keep talking about my t-shirts.
Yeah. If you want to purchase.
What's your handle, Tim?
Here's my QR code.
So yeah, it's kind of like you go, okay, put that lens in, and then you start playing and you start having fun with it, because there are a couple of thumbprints which are not intellectual, they're intuitive. So it's kind of like, well, that feels right. So I'm going to go with that for for a period of time until I'll try something else. I can't quite like what that person's saying, or it resonates with me, because you're always doing that. I think it was you who was saying the other day that you like to get something, take it apart, and then put it back together. You find that quite fascinating and interesting, without like an instruction book. And that's essentially what you're doing with like concepts and ideas from an occult perspective, because you get something. So I don't know, something that I don't know, someone that people say, oh, well, he's not a very nice person. So you go, well, let me have a look at that. And you, oh, right, okay, well, let me take that apart. Let me see what's going on now, which is what you've been doing.
That's just what I did on Saturday. Period. That's exactly what I was doing. Rather than sort of jumping straight in with my first initial thought process, I'm like, Martha.
Leo's like, rah,
rah. Yeah. No. It was like, actually, no, let's sit back and observe this from a distance. And I think you've learnt that as well. We've been both on that sort of journey of sort of, instead of jumping in and sort of being reactionary, it's about being proactive and looking at yourself and how you react and how they are, what they're doing. Now, we've learned a lot over these last few years, definitely how about, and I've always read into about psychology as well. I'm really interested in psychology and different people's traits, and what makes them behave a certain way, what makes what labels them like psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, all these sort of things. I'm always really, really interested in things like that, so I've looked into those, and it's good to see how that actually is reflected in what I was seeing on Saturday, but also in other areas as well. Anybody become me, people's reactions, and it's sometimes and most of it is mostly down to fear. It's fear. They're frightened more than anything else, and that's when you learn to think, right, well, there's no point arguing, being angry with them, having a go at them, because that's just gonna rather me for more and get them all like, well, I'm not really, I'm just gonna stand up for myself, and you can't stand. But by coming from a place which is more with a bit more compassion, it just takes them right down, and it takes their argument out, and then they have to go away and think it. Well, whether they do go away and think about it or not, but anyway, their argument with you ceases. They can't go anywhere because you're not feeding their anger, which is usually, as I say, mostly fear-based, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah, well, like to me, there's like a duality. So, it's like what we got at the moment with Israel and Palestine. Yeah. You've got a duality. So it's like, do you support Hamas, or do you support the Israelis and the Jews? So it's like there's these two opposing forces, which is the constant thumping of these insidious toxic magicians, as I call them.
That's right, yeah.
But it's becoming, like, for me, I think what 2020 did was it produced a lot more people that could see that. So rather than me being the black sheep, because I go, well, I'm sorry, but that's not necessarily a good thing, going to work for the whole of your life and I've been working here for 50 years, man and boy,
That's right.
and I've got to get my pension, and then you just get like, people can't be asked to go to the bar, so they give you a token.
You get a clock or something weird
Especially
like that.
Yeah, you watch.
Yeah, especially when creative people are singing about it, or writing plays about it, or poetry, and they're telling you, like in the song from Talking Heads, you know, living in a house, how did I get here?
Yeah, yeah.
It's clearly telling you, 2020, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, living in a house, how did I get here?
Well, how did I get? Yeah, we were singing that all the time. We were going. That song keeps coming up in our heads all the time.
the
Well,
days
how
go
did I
by.
get? How did we get here?
Yeah.
Literally, that is literally it. And then
You may find yourself
living in
Yeah.
a
in 2020
20, yeah. You may find yourself arguing with
inside
people.
your house.
We were watching Star Trek at the moment, second time around. So I said, just as an exercise, an occult exercise, let's watch it back to back. So we watched all the episodes, and then started again, just to see if we see anything different or perceive.
Yeah, it's really useful exercise. I've been just cutting there. Lots of things I've been doing that, and how you see it with open eyes now, different eyes, tells you a hell of a lot about all the predictive programming. I think. But yeah, go on. Go.
And one of the main themes all the way through Star Trek is fear and pain. They keep identifying it, don't they? They keep saying, like it'll appear. There's one episode where children murder their parents on this planet. So when the Star Trek crew, arrive on the planet, they've just got these innocent children. So the thing that confuses Kirk and Spock, because he does the eyebrow thing, is that they're playing ring a rose, and they're like, oh, why are they not up?
Who's taught them this? Yeah.
Why are they not upset?
Yeah, because their parents are dead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
So
like,
McCoy says, well, don't say that to them because they're probably traumatised, you know, from a psychology perspective. So anyway, they get the kids. They take the kids on board because they're going to take them back home. There's an entity that's attached to the children and is controlling the children, and that's kind of how the episode sort of progresses, where the children then take over the ship through this. I suppose it's a metaphysical energy that he's given them, and it's basically this, isn't it? They do this. Well, I'm doing a hand movement. if you do this, that's what they do. It's very aggressive. It's like
yeah,
like violent.
I think I remember it.
And it seems to do something to the crew where they see things that are not there.
they're confronted with their own
Fear.
fear,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the greatest fear.
Yeah, I
So,
do sort of remember
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but it's a theme almost all the way through. There's another one with, just say this one, that's the second one, where they go to this planet and they're met by a kind of sort of space boy, which warns them not to come there. And they're on a sort of an envoy thing to make contact with these people, to trade with them. And it warns them not to come. Anyway, they get there, and when they land on the planet, it's just all full of mist. Mist. What do we were warned to do? Well, Spock warns them and says they're telepathic, and it doesn't always go well with telepaths.
Yeah.
Beware the telepaths.
So he transports, when they get there, he transports them into this. It's at the OK Corral, so it's got the two factions that were in that town, and I can't remember what Clancy's, and I know it's Doc Holliday and people like that.
Yeah.
So the end of it, so jumping back to the end, Spock works out that it is only their minds that these beings are using to create, because they wouldn't know about it. So they must have got it from our minds.
Yeah.
So therefore it's not real. So anyway, he does a mind melt on them to get them to, when they meet at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock, the gunfight, that the bullets can't hurt them, they will just pass through them.
Yeah.
And he does a mind melt with that. And as soon as he does that, and they fire the guns, and there's a little bit of fighting, isn't it? The whole thing just disappears.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's the aliens ping them back to their ship, and then they say, we're willing to trade with you because you didn't, because he
Because
didn't, Kirk didn't kill.
you're not as violent as we thought you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the important part of it was that it was the mind being used.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was same. Did you ever watch The Martian Chronicles?
Don't think so.
And they,
Is that Arthur C. Clarke?
yeah,
Yeah.
and they basically projected from their thoughts their homes and everything they were living in. They were living in 60s America or wherever they grew up with kitchens and everything, and then it all disappears and they're just on this like desolate sort of scenery when they actually wake out of it. But up until then they were being, their minds were being controlled to say that they're safe and they're at home and, you know, they're fine. But they weren't actually there. It was just projections from their minds, and it was from all their memories. They pieced it all together.
Oh, look at that. Really glorious red, isn't it? Oh, there was a shrub on the way round. The most beautiful rose hips on them. It looked like a bit of a the garden was pretty overgrown. It looked like there wasn't anybody maybe not there. But right at the front, and I was like, no, I couldn't be. But beautiful rose hips on this rose bush with the big round orangey ones, and then there was the dog rose ones with the red sort of more sort of oval, dark, deep red berries as well.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, they look really good. You know, I thought, no, I won't. I'll never take from anyone's front garden, but I've been tempted with some quinces down the road, didn't I?
Yeah.
No one lives there either, by the looks of it. And I think
Every year we say we're going to do that. I said I'm going to go up there at night and
jam.
just for the
Cheers.
seeds, try and grow our own
Cheers,
ones. But I never do.
Oh,
Never go up
no.
there. Cheers.
So what's up? Is it, have you got the structure there?
Oh, that's good.
So this is like a retrospective, if you like, of, I call it the con.
Yeah.
So you all have your own names for it.
Pandemic.
Pandemic.
Pandemic. Yeah. So, first question. What was the kind of trigger point? The first thing that made you feel that there was, I don't know, hang on, something's not right here. What was that very first
Specifically with
thing?
the COVID. With the
Yeah,
COVID.
with the con. Yeah.
With the COVID.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I was giving this some thought last night, and it didn't really take much to think about it, really, because I think we already had a bit of a insight into thinking that this was going to go down anyway.
Something was going to happen.
Something was going to happen, because for a long time we'd been watching. For a long time we'd always been interested in like 9/11. What the hell was going on there? All the stuff. And what was started as a light interest developed deeper and deeper into more of a sort of like a real research thing.
Yeah.
We started off with like stuff with like David Icke, obviously, and that's your first go to. And we thought, oh, we listen to David Icke, you know. But then as we listened to him, we realised the guy was talking a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then it sort of pursued from there down into different people sort of researching things. So we got into quite a few things prior to 2020. So we was already listening to people like, there's a woman called Deborah Tavares in Stop the Crime in California. A couple of people here were doing a lot of things on YouTube, weren't they, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff like that. But then we started researching deeper into like actual facts and figures, getting onto websites, going in and finding the things for ourselves. And all the things they were talking about, I thought, right, I'm going to make a point of actually looking into these and delving into and see if this is all true. And by God, was it true? So we already had a good understanding that the Agenda 2130 was a thing, and it was a serious thing, and we knew that that was going to be at some point. I still must say, there's still a tiny bit of me that believed, no, they can't possibly. How are they going to pull this off? How are they going to do this? How will they get this to happen? And then in 2020, early 2020, when we started talking about this virus coming out of China, started talking about it, it started building momentum, and I just thought, well, as soon as it said it hit here, and there's that one person, I think in Lewisham was one of the first people infected in Lewisham, and I thought, this is it. For me, that was the turning point. As soon as they said somebody in this country apparently was affected, and they were sent off to some hospitals, only 3 hospitals in the UK were able to deal with this you know, this terrible disease that we don't know how to control or deal with. Yeah, at that point. That was the turning point. I just thought, oh wow, this is it. This is what they're going to be doing.
Yeah,
this is it.
I think they had a dress rehearsal because I remember telling you it wasn't happening widely, but was it I can't remember the other thing that I had coming out. Was it the swine flu thing?
In 2009, they tried H1N1.
Yeah,
yes,
that's it.
And
I was working at the Express.
Trying to do
I was
that
working in the Express then, and they were wreaking havoc through our building. I was working at the Express, and I was doing things like opening doors for people, and they wouldn't come through it because I'd touched it and stuff like that. And this was back before all this. And I'd go out at lunch, and no one would go out. And I'd go into a shop, and they wouldn't want to sort of really be in the shop. And I'm thinking, this is really weird. You know, what's going on? What's going on? And it's exactly what happened in the COVID. I think it was like a little bit of a dress rehearsal, how they can affect people. And it didn't seem to be widespread. It just seemed to be concentrating on a few people. And I was like thinking, this is ridiculous. You know, I've opened the door for you. You went, no, it's all right.
Yeah, it was really weird because you come home and tell me about those things, and they were big. Oh, they're like, it's almost like it's contained in one area. But you'd come home and tell me, but everything was perfectly normal where we are.
Yeah. And
it's like, well, surely it was spread around if it was that dangerous.
People like rolling up their sleeves, and when they wanted to push the button for the lift, they'd actually push it with the material of their sleeve.
But then you're going to be walking around with that on you all day, you know.
But then you get on the train and then come home and everything's normal.
So I think that I'd already had this sort of experience of this madness that was, well, what's going on? Because I wasn't joining in with it. And I'm thinking, what was happening over the people in the last few weeks? So anyway, that was a sort of an indicator of what could happen.
But we also knew because we were we were quite lucky because both of us were quite on board with each other, whereas a lot of couples have had to find out whether they're on board with each other much further down the line. But we'd already been following this up and looking into it. And at first I couldn't believe it. You was doing more reading into it than I was. And then I suddenly thought, no, it completely fell into place. And I thought, no, this is definitely happening. So we both looked at each other right at the start and went, this is it. This is it. They're actually doing it.
And also, in the 90s, we had a friend, Noel, who I grew up with through school. Yeah, and he was into conspiracy theories. He was the first person I knew who was at the internet early in the 90s, and he was so many things he sort of was talking about.
He was one person
started to look
us,
into as well. He got us interested.
He was very much a sort of, he was a very big influence on whoever to see things. You know, at the 9/11 he talked a hell of a lot about. There was a lot. He was really into so-called conspiracy theories, and he was the one that got us thinking on lots of things. He is very educated, very knowledgeable, and very much able to sort of disseminate information. So the 9/11 thing got us thinking as well, because we started, and that's when that was the trigger point really. We started to think, right, hang on, if they can do that, where the hell is this really going? Where is this going to lead eventually? And we started seeing things falling into place.
Yeah.
And you know.
So did you see, because between the what they call 9/11 and when I first saw the loose change video,
oh yeah, the loose.
I mean, I was pregnant with Henry when that so-called thing happened, and Henry must have been about. She was about. I think he'd just started school, so he would have been 4 when I first saw that. So that's quite a few years.
Yeah.
And in between that, I'd looked at John. What's his name? John Harris talked about the birth certificates. And when I looked on Henry's birth certificate, I'm like,
oh my god,
fucking hell,
I know,
shit.
I know.
But then there was a time, you know, where it kind of not that went to sleep, but that because there wasn't. You didn't have access to lots of information.
No, we didn't. I remember back in.
But then the loose change video. It's like I had a friend who said to me, "Watch this, Ange. So tell me what you think of this." And I'm like, "Fucking fucks."
Remind me what the loose change video is.
I can't remember what it was called, but it was a very, very long video.
About 4 or 5 hours, yeah.
Talking about, you know, the conspiracy of it.
Yeah, the whole build-up. We have seen it. I said to you last night, because I came across it last night, and I said,
"Oh, did you? You have to send me the link, because I'd like to watch it again."
Yeah, I found it on someone else's, and they, oh God, where did I see it? But yeah, I said, well, loose change. I said, we watched that, didn't we? You remembered it, and I certainly remembered it. But it was it was literally it was actually a very long video telling you how it started,
Go on, you can
progressed,
have
and now where we are with, and it was actually an old video as well, so it's not actually like up to date right this very minute, but telling you how we have got to this point with all the so-called elites, the globalists, the billionaires, the corporations, the money makers, the big guns at the top, how they've been literally pushing towards all this collectively to, well, the only way you can describe it really is a takedown, isn't it? A takedown of humanity more than anything else, or their aim is to do that.
That's well, whether that's a goal, I don't know, but they certainly operate from a very different place to.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
You know, our natural being.
State. Yeah, our natural place.
Completely opposite.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, 9/11 was the sort of trigger point. I suppose really it even goes further back, because I was already having, you know, when Diana was killed, I was already putting like 2 and 2 together with Waking Thought, and I was onto that. I really thought there's something really weird about. And at that point, my whole feelings about the royal family just changed overnight, and immediately everything stuck out like a sore thumb. Because we was up that night. I won't go into a lot of detail of that because we're talking about that. But we was up that night, and we saw the first reports. And they all conflicted the final day. The final day.
Yeah, it's all relevant.
The next day, they all conflicted with what we had seen the night before, and they got rid of all that.
The reports we'd heard
were completely different.
Like with Roswell, same thing.
Yeah, everything. Because before we were going on holiday the next day. We were, one of our few holidays before we stopped going on holiday, really. And we was getting on a flight, so we stayed up late so we could have a late sleep, so we could go to the airport and all this. Anyway, we stayed up late. We were still awake at 3 in the morning when the reports had first started coming in. And everything they detailed then was not the same as they detailed next. When we went to bed, as far as we was aware, Princess Diana was alive, very much alive.
Walking around.
Was even walking around. She was not seriously injured, but she had some lacerations to her leg. Unfortunately, the other, Dodie had died, and and the car was, this, that, and the other. But they saved her. She was okay. She was all right. It's okay. They're gonna get to the hospital to get her checked over, and obviously deal with her injuries. Next day, woke up, news was on. She's suddenly dead. It's like,
wow.
Hang on.
Yeah.
She was alive last night, perfectly alive, actually standing up and walking around.
Yeah.
And there's other things as well. I can't remember fully, but I knew there was something. Anyway, that pulled me onto a whole wow, I'm not getting this. This is very strange. And although I didn't have the internet at home at that point. We did have it at work, and in my breaks and that I started looking into things in a little bit more detail about things. And then then the 9/11 happened, and that moved forwards, and again I could see sort of connections with what was going on, and then when we started listening to David Icke, I mean, he's talked about the royal family at length. He's talked about Diana's death at length. Very deep, very ritualised sort of. He said ritualised murder basically. And although at the time you think, is this real? But you can see how it could be. You can see how it all fits in. And with the 9/11 as well, we was really, we just started getting we just gone online, haven't we, when that had happened.
Yeah.
So it's still dial up, it was like,
oh, yeah.
So any pictures were like,
cost you like 50 quid for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And we had to rely on the TV news at the time, but we'd already started looking into it. Then Noel was on board as well, and he was he had much better connections than we did, so in more ways than one. And we started learning a little bit more about certain elements, certain symbolisms, certain things that could have been showing up beforehand. This is, and of course your mind's completely all over the place. You think, what the hell is the truth and what isn't?
Yeah. And you start to think about the physics of 2 towers falling down when they were only, supposedly hit at the top.
Still doing that now, aren't you?
Yeah, and then you look at you don't just accept it. You sort of think, well, it's damage at the top. Yeah, there might have been some fire, blah blah blah, but it's iron girders, and you then start to look at how the building was built and how it's held up.
Yeah, you start looking at structures.
How is a plane going to go? What it showed on the footage was a plane going in it like butter. None of the wings broke off. They just went straight, disappeared into the building.
Yeah.
Then there was an explosion. Then the front of the plane supposedly came out the other side of the building, undented. It just doesn't seem to be like we're not watching something that's realistic here. So you look further into it, and then when they both collapsed, you sort of think, well, maybe the top bit might have fallen off, but the rest of the building sort of, it collapsed to dust, nothing.
Yeah.
And you could see, if you watch old footage, you can see boom, 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 boom,
Yeah,
like,
the
and
little
it's
plumes.
controlled demolition.
Yeah.
And they say it's
Yeah.
like the, you know, the
Yeah.
pancaking floors pushing out the air.
Yeah.
Fair enough, that could be a case. I'm not saying it's not, but the whole building wouldn't have come down. It might have come down in sessions if it was going to completely collapse, but it wouldn't have just gone in its own footprint and then an hour later.
Collapsing into its own footprint.
And no other buildings have done that. And then not only 2 buildings, but 3 buildings, which
Yeah.
they didn't report on. And in fact, they did report on it before it actually happened.
Yeah.
And you sort of think, this news is being controlled, and they've tripped up here and they've reported it before it's supposed to be reported. And there it is in the background behind her. And then they heard them say on walkie-talkies, pull it. When it fell, pull it. And that means demolish it.
But also, I mean,
Wow.
without going to the ins and outs of that at the moment, because that's not really.
No.
Yeah,
No, but
like,
it is all.
But it's all relevant.
It's
It's,
all
also
relevant.
relevant how they were covering up stuff, making out things were going on, and the lies they put together to say that, it was Al Qaeda, it was Osama bin Laden, it was this. When they know damn well that the bin Ladens and the Bush family are so interconnected. So we all learned all these things after that time, but before 2020, we knew that.
I mean, the question is, what was the first thing that made you feel something wasn't right in the world? So, you know, I think what we're kind of sort of saying is there's a number of things.
Yeah.
Trigger points.
I think we already knew that.
Yeah.
You realise you're being duped.
And you thought, this is the next one that's coming. We wondered how, because we've been doing our research on Agenda 2130, and we thought, well, how the hell are they going to bring this in? How are they going to possibly dupe people? And then when this came in, and then suddenly you just saw everybody just fall at its feet, you just thought, oh, this is it. This is what they're using.
Well, not everybody,
This is the
that's
virus.
the
No,
point.
not everybody. No, obviously not us, not you, but
The reason
our
I say-
neighbours, friends, you know.
The reason I say that is because that's another part of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
I do it all the time, where you make a very broad statement and you can hear it in your words. So I'm, as a guy that Pete, that we listen to, he's very interesting in his concept of the 144
Thousand.
and whatever that word
Blue
is.
Ray Starseed Hyokas.
What Angie said. And
It's our generation, basically. The first waivers that came here
but
to,
he
change the world, basically.
Yeah.
he makes quite
up for that.
broad statements, and I think, well, hold on a minute. That's not everybody. Not everybody
Yeah.
is saying that. Because there's a particular woman that he's talking about at the moment who's essentially said that you could say 144 is essentially she's making postulations towards, well, it could be 144 of this or 144 of this. She's kind of playing with ideas and stuff like that. But he's taking it quite personally and say that no, there's 144,000 people here who have gone through. So he's taking it very personally. So you kind of have to step back. Although you kind of, oh, this guy's interesting. I like what he's saying.
Yeah.
But a lot of people go, oh no, he's very important. You know, like David Icke, he's very important. I mean, I'm a big David Icke fan, but I take a step back.
But there have also
it's
been
that-
people programmed to just go, David Icke is an idiot because that's what they've only ever heard.
Yeah.
So my dad's
It's
like
always that thing of what you attach to. So if you, it's like, we love David Icke, but what we see is he is always repeating
Yep.
the narrative.
Yep.
Yes, he says that amazing thing at the end, but he's
still telling you what
he's feeding
that narrative
narrative.
into you, which is the fear
so
of what could happen,
you
not
know,
what is happening.
at the moment we're not watching any of his stuff.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
that's
we stopped watching a lot of his stuff.
we
He
stopped
does
watching-
to repeat and repeat and repeat.
Because he's got new people coming on board all
Yes,
the time,
so-
and then
so,
to be but it's still, as you say, still reinforcing every time he's getting new people aware of what he's done.
It's that thing.
That narrative is still being
Spell,
reinforced in
you're
their
spelling.
heads, and that
You're
reinforces the
using
fear.
words to
Yeah,
spell.
and that keeps the fear going still.
It does.
It does. But a lot of these things, a lot of people we've initially listened to go, oh gosh, they're really sort of saying all the right things, and yeah, I can get on board with that. But the fear that they were still projecting
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
was incredible. And I just thought, I don't get any positive. I did get positive vibes because one thing I was saying was the things we'd understood, and it's not just me. This is a bigger thing than I realised, and lots of other people seeing this, and people were able to speak out about this. But the fear factor was being driven deeper and deeper and deeper, to the point that we're all of us, even if they see it as real, we see it as fake, but we're all being controlled by fear if we still pull into a lot of the stuff that we're being told.
Yeah, so, like for example, like from an occult perspective, or middle path perspective, which is essentially you're walking the middle path, you do not attach to anything, because if you attach to anything,
that's right,
then you've got to wave that flag and you've got to defend it, and so on and so on. But you can pick it up for a while, so you can join whatever faction, Labour Party, if you like.
We did that for about 6 months, and then we're like, right, let's put that down now.
Put it down. That's it, and we're learning that.
Corbyn. Yeah,
because Jeremy Corbyn,
that
was different.
Yeah.
Because when you see difference, you think, oh, well, that's interesting. I've not seen that before. Let's get behind it. Let's see where that's then going to go. Because it's like, to me, it's like hang on, going off subject. So the occult thing is, so when we were kids, the thing that I picked up on, the question is, what was the first thing that made you feel something wasn't right in the world, and what was the trigger point with the con? I'd say we were brought up around war. First World War, Second World War. Yeah. We had people who, during the war,
and don't forget the overarching thing of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Cold War,
that was fear. Yeah.
Well,
Falklands War.
Falklands War, wars in the Middle East.
So you've got the First World, but people weren't really talking about that. They were talking about their own experiences in the First World War and the Second World War. Because like when I used to go up to Stamford Bridge, you'd have like soldiers there from the First World War. Because I can't remember the Chelsea pensions.
Yeah.
And it was only for very elderly soldiers.
That's why they had to have a park put aside, didn't they? So they could sit there. Yeah.
And they used to mingle with the crowds before we were going in, because they wear their uniforms. They liked all the attention. And you chat to them and say, "Oh yeah, I fought in the First World War."
Pardon me.
So what I'm suggesting is that it, and also within the history, but those people went through an experience, but what did they actually go through? So because I know for a fact there's a lot of propaganda around it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are not spoken about that, like for example, I think it's an occupation by Americans in London, but no one really speaks about that because.
Is this during when? The Second World War?
Second World War.
Second World War.
Well, and the First World War, because there were Americans here during the First World War. And so it's an unspoken thing about where people are having affairs with Americans. It's not really spoken about.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to get off your point, but I'll just move on about it's true, because only recently, in recent years, I've seen a few documentaries where the love hearts of the American soldiers that have gone back, they went over and they went and married their sweethearts in America eventually after the war finished, and they obviously become sort of part of that whole, they become American citizens and they become part ingrained into that. And there's a massive story behind that, because not all of them got on well, not all of them were well treated. A lot of the soldiers didn't treat them very well, after they're married and everything. A lot of them had babies here, where their soldiers went back to America, and a lot of them were left holding unmarried women without babies. Never really gone into and talked about in a big way.
Never.
In polite society,
it's there, but it's tucked away. It's in the background.
It's tucked away, and
cupboard.
A lot of Americans, said that they were wealthy. they were lying essentially. Not
Well,
all
they
of them,
came
but
over
some
and
of them.
they had a very
thought we were
sort of
gonna
like
die,
Hollywood look to them. They were speaking about like, in the Hollywood films that all the young women were going off to the cinema to see for a bit of light entertainment. These men look there they were in the flesh, you know, in their uniforms, looking handsome, their American accents, coming over with their stockings and their chocolate to bribe the women, you know, and to give them all these treats and things. Nothing like our poor old soldiers here could provide them with. Looking, half of them didn't even get proper uniforms till well into the war. And we're run ragged. The country was run ragged. So these are rich looking Americans, all smart in their uniforms.
Well.
Yeah, they were they completely seduced the women here and thought that they were, you know, they thought they were the bee's knees. But turns out that, you know, it wasn't rosy after that rosy. I mean, I know some went off and had a good, you know, got married and lived happily ever after. But for a lot of them, as I say, they were left sometimes unmarried, pregnant, very much frowned upon then. They got rid of their babies. They had illegal abortions. Cause
Yeah,
I'm
just sort of trying to sort of. I think what I'm suggesting is, so with that question, what was the first thing which made you feel something wasn't right with it? So I didn't feel like with the people that were around me at that time who'd gone through this experience, I don't think they really talked about it. And I always thought it was because it was so traumatic. But I think there's a lot more going on there than what meets the eye. And the reason that kind of came up is because I recently went to Ramsgate, and you know the caves.
Yeah.
Ramsgate. And so I was doing a psychic, well, just feeling the cave, see what was in there. And it didn't make sense. It did not make sense what they were saying went on in there to what I was observing.
Yeah, but being holed up in there for, you know, years.
It didn't make sense.
So what it felt like an experiment.
What happened there? What happened in there? What was the?
Well, it was, I don't know if it's First or Second World War.
Second World War.
So they used it because obviously Ramsgate was a shipbuilding. Am I right?
Yeah,
shipbuilding
port, wasn't it?
It was a pole, yeah.
But you know, it was targeted, allegedly. Yeah. So in order to, you know, save people, they put them in these caves.
Oh. Right.
You know, like shanty towns in a cave, in a very dark, damp, stinky, you know, I mean, when we came out of there, it was like, felt like you were covered in something.
Yeah, dusty,
horrible,
gritty, yeah.
So how people would, and they shut the doors. That was the point.
Yeah, it wasn't allowed out.
You weren't allowed out. It was like, for years,
Doesn't make sense.
people lived like that. I don't fucking think
That's
so.
That's funny because I just raised something there because I've got quite a few books on the war. Same thing with putting people in the underground. They thought it was safe. People went there because they knew it was safe. But people got too reliant living underground at night time. Got too reliant, and they were building communities. They were building little churches. They're building proper little communities down the shops, and you know they would set up after the trains had gone through the tunnels or whatever. But even when the trains were still trying to come through and people were trying to get in and out, these people would still be laying on the floor, setting up their little camps. And it was noted in government apparently. It said, oh, you know, if we don't get these people out, they're going to become troglodytes. They're going to that's what they called them.
Oh my God.
It actually came up in government to say that if they don't if we don't get these people back out and onto the, you know, surface again, they'll be like troglodytes. But nothing was really done because the only way people felt safe was right down underground.
You think the bombs are
because the bombs are falling, and a lot of the blooming air raid shelters were attacked as well. They were destroyed, and people died in air raid shelters or in their homes or in their own air raid shelters. So the only real place they felt really safe was actually underground. So I said, oh, they might be like troglodytes. What's really going on is the fact that they didn't do anything to try and change that. They were quite happy for people to stay under there. Until, of course, there was that terrible accident at Bethnal Green, which killed loads of people, you know, because they all fell down the stairs, and that's another story. But yeah, they were happy for people just to, they weren't going to do anything. So, as you say, it was an experiment, keeping people shut in, shut down, locked in.
The feeling that we got, I can't remember if we filmed it or not.
Yeah, I did.
Was it a choice going down there? Was you given a choice to go down there?
I can't remember.
It's a bit like Chislehurst Caves, isn't it? That's right. That was like Chislehurst Caves, wasn't it? But people chose, they queued up to go down.
It felt like what they were saying wasn't true.
Wasn't true.
that it wasn't true, that there was something underneath it, that it was a little bit more sinister.
Mm.
Well, what
You feel it, don't you?
what was interesting about that, and also within this conversation, the reason why we're doing it was that these kind of people were under the same sort of thing, although it wasn't
Yeah.
An alleged pandemic. It was.
They were being tricked.
It was a threat. They were a perceived threat, wasn't it?
But in landscape, it's like, you know, it wasn't bombed like London or Manchester or Coventry.
No.
And it just didn't make sense, did it? We were left with a lot of. We're going to go back down.
Well, the whole of the south coast as well, wasn't it? That was all cordoned off for the fear. But did they?
Yeah, you weren't allowed on the beaches.
No, you weren't allowed on the
beaches.
beaches. It's all cordoned off. They were on the south coast.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They was all barbed wire barricades.
We were told that we were going to be invaded.
Yeah, the threat of invasion was constant.
That's what
it always makes me laugh.
Army was, because they're on the coast, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's
Home
it's not
guard.
an actual
it's
town,
made up.
but it's made up.
It was based on
something on
Bexhill on
sea,
Sea.
isn't it?
Yeah, Bexhill was it?
No, it's supposed to be near there, but I can't remember
I
what it's
think
called.
it was
Warmington.
Warmington on Sea. Yeah.
Warmington. But you know, Hitler came to France, Jersey and Guernsey, because he invaded those. And then, you know,
he built some bunkers there or something.
He was so powerful
as usual.
that he went, because it's not that far.
Oh, I'm not
It's
going to go
like
any further. I'm going to stop right here.
It's just a boat ride. They had no military in this country whatsoever. So, but all we're told is that, I can't remember his name now, but the SAS officer that parachuted into Scotland was the only German that made it onto like British mainland. But they were like that far away, so Hitler went, no, I don't think we'll go that. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, the point I'm making, if you leave that, so we're brought up on like this war thing, and then you start getting like, so I just made a quick, I just wondered what you thought about these things. So I'll go through this and then I'll tell you my personal story of the thing that woke me up. So like the Mountbatten thing. Do you remember the Mountbatten?
Flipping heck, yeah.
The IRA.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge, massive.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I thought, well, that's weird. What would they blow him up?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like an old man. Something's like that. On his boat as well.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
What's the point of that?
On his boat.
Yeah, it was like ridiculous. It's like an elderly man, and he was, he's not even an important political figure.
No, he wasn't. No. Well, what was going on with him? Yeah.
So that was it was like I questioned that. The SA. Do you remember the SAS?
Yes. Yeah.
Into the embassy.
That's
all
right.
filmed.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Oh, I remember my name going. Oh, it's the SAS.
They're going to save the day.
Yeah.
Was that the siege?
The siege, the inside, the
Yes.
embassy.
Siege.
The Iranian embassy, wasn't it? And
Was
it
the
was.
Iranian embassy or Spaghetti House
Yeah,
siege?
but what was the feeling?
No, it was the Iranian.
Iranian
They-
embassy, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on, you. What was? Who told you that? Yeah, they're gonna. Because my name was the same.
It was on the news.
So they and it was said.
No,
Is
it's
that the one with
probably
the
my
explosion?
dad, because my dad used to religiously watch the news. He probably still does, because Jane
What was
didn't
your
at all.
feeling on it? Was it like?
Well, I was only about. It must have been. Do you know what? I just got back from the fair up at Blackheath, and I got lost as well. Got split up with my friends. So I actually had to make my way home from there, and I was a bit like, oh. Anyway, I got in, and then Mum's going, quick, come in, there's something going on. So we're all sitting down, and I'm going, what's going on? Because I had no idea what was going on, and I just watched what was happening, the explosion, the SAS bombed in through the window, didn't they, and pulled out. And
You watched it on TV?
I saw it live on the
Yes.
TV, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
My mum literally, she didn't want to hear about my town and why I was trying to get home. She dragged me in.
So don't you find that fascinating that
Oh, cheers. You
four quite random people
Yeah.
all watch that on TV?
Yeah.
Well, that was the
What
only
is
means.
the chances of that?
Well, I think because people watched a lot more television then.
It
It was Bank Holiday Monday. I do remember that's why I was up at the fair. It was a Bank Holiday Monday. Everyone was all perched in back. They got everybody at that point. See, now you think about it. Lots of people watching bank holiday programs. It was It was they usually have a bit of a more of a TV sort of like.
And they do that thing, won't they? We're interrupting
In
this
this
program
programme, yeah.
for a news flash.
And that's exactly what had happened. And they were, oh my goodness, because they'd already got everybody sitting around because there was no other means of entertainment. Everyone watched the same thing on a bank holiday Monday. It was this, I think it was Easter. It was like Easter, around about Easter or May bank holiday, something like that.
So, yeah, something like that.
And but they already had everybody captured around the TV set for their viewing for bank holiday. It might have been I don't know what was on, circus or sport event or whatever. So they had the majority of people focused in on the TVs. Right, okay, we'll put that out. Well, that's going out now. Yeah, I mean, and suddenly there was this siege, and what was all that about? You know.
But everyone watched that on TV.
Yeah, they did.
Now,
because they were all
in hindsight, I think that was a false flag.
Yeah.
Mm.
It clearly was a false
Oh,
flag.
now you see that. But back then, I thought, what's
Can
real?
anybody remember the embassy that they went into?
It was the Iranian embassy.
Iranian embassy, yeah.
Mm.
Look at where we are now. It's going on. It's going on.
Wasn't there
it's
that
going on.
police officer that was a female police officer?
Yeah, Yvonne Fletcher, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yvonne Fletcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She was killed.
and then the next one that came to mind was the first Iraq war. So I was going to say the Falkland Islands was another one.
That's right.
Yep.
So, Joe, my uncle, because my uncle was in the Navy, and he was on one of the ships, the frigates down there, and he was
wow.
and it's really funny because he didn't see any action on land. He was sent down there, and he was on one of the big frigates that actually protected Prince Andrew's ship. I forget what it's called now. I remember his was called Andromeda, but I don't. What was Andrew's ship?
Belgrano?
No, not Belgrano.
No.
That was the old Greenpeace thing, wasn't it? Oh, no, not Belgrano.
No,
That was the other
throwing
one.
names out there randomly.
Yeah. But anyway, whether Andrew's ship was on, but he didn't see any action on land at all. He was there protecting. So, even my uncle, who was right down in the bloody Falklands, in the middle of the Atlantic there, I said, "What did you see?" Well, we didn't really do anything.
Wow.
So you didn't fight anything? Not really. And then he came back again. Not undermining my uncle's ability, not undermining my uncle what they were there for, but he actually said he didn't see much action. He was just at sea protecting the other frigates.
The way they painted it, there were ships being blown up and
bombed.
shot at all the time.
No, it wasn't. Even my uncle said that. My uncle even said that. Well, we didn't see much. He went down there, came back again. And he
And
said,
then the last
unbelievable.
The last one was the the first war in Iraq. Iraq. But it was the invasion of Kuwait by Iraq. Because I remember that distinctly because it was the first televised.
Is that with all the oil wells burning?
Yeah.
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 Oh, that was the
televised
first.
war.
Just a quick sideline, because I had this come into my head yesterday. What was the Iran-Contra scandal? Does anyone?
No, you have to research that.
Oh,
I can't
okay.
think
Yeah,
off the top of my
that's-
head.
Yeah.
Um,
I know what you mean.
Something in
Yeah,
that.
but I can't get my over that one.
so, and then the last bit was like Christian dogma. So it's if you add all that in, it's not surprising that we asked the question of what was the first thing that made you feel something wasn't quite right. Well, and that so my personal story was that I've always felt very uneasy because it's never felt anything of it is in any way, shape or.
Well, that time I would never have questioned the news at all. I've just seen it on the news and thought that's it. That's what happened.
When,
Yeah.
what, 2020?
I did.
No. Back in the 80s, 90s.
See, I did. I always said it was lies.
Yeah.
Lying on that on that program. Only because I'd read a lot about like the newspapers and like the news reports from certainly in their foreign policy that they had a lot of states in like India, Africa, and places like that. It wasn't until a bit later that what's it called, that company?
Oh, East India
East
Company.
India.
Yeah, the East India Company.
Yeah,
I
East
didn't
India
know that at the
Company,
time,
yeah.
but I knew that you'd get like a little snippet of, like for example, this war between the Israelis and the Palestinians. In the old newspapers, there would be like a little snippet.
Yeah.
And it'd be said something like, "We will be protecting the British interests in these countries."
That's right.
And that'd be like a little snippet.
And that was and only newspapers were available at that time, before even radio and that were mainstream. So all you had was a newspaper. So if you only got a little snippet in there, most people would read that and go, "Oh, okay, that's the news, that's it." Not all this hype, propaganda, fear, the visual that goes into it, the whole production that goes into making a news item now, with all the way the drama. And have you noticed how they're adding music into all their stuff now?
Yes, to get people in that emotional state.
Building that
This is
sort
how
of,
you must feel about this clip.
but it's almost like film, isn't it? It's filmic.
Oh yeah, it's very filmic.
It's very filmic, with the background music to get you into a certain mindset. Cinematic now. Yeah, it's
What's that clip we saw yesterday about the tramp in California? Complete fake, wasn't it?
Oh no, it was a hairdresser, and he said it was fake, but people believed it.
People believed it.
There was I'll just quickly say, I was just coming across this video. This Barbara transformed this homeless man, apparently.
He had all dreadlocks, thick dreadlocks and everything. And they said on the side of the street, and someone came over and said, I'll help you clean yourself up, didn't they?
So anyway, he gave him this beautiful haircut, and he looked beautiful, amazing, dressed him all nicely. But the people in the comments absolutely all fell for it. They thought he was a real homeless man. Even though this person who had put this video up, this barber, said, it's an awareness video, it's not real. It's an awareness video, it's not real. But all the people didn't read that, they didn't see that. They just go, oh, this man, and there's only about 3 comments, people said, this looks a bit fake to me, this is a bit staged. And he's replied, well, it is staged because I'm just doing it as an awareness video. But everyone's going, you're such a kind heart, you're a true soul, you'll go to heaven. But he actually admitted it's not real. He got it from bloody video likes.
I think that brings up the, the idea of how much we are told, whether it's from like authors, like 1984, 7 They Live,
Brave New World,
Animal
Farm,
Animal
that
Farm.
film. Animals equal, but some animals more equal than others.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Tolkien. Jules Verne.
Star Trek. Massive one.
There are so many writers and obscure writers as well. But artists as well. If you look at artwork, certainly at the turn of the century, where you've got Dali talking about surrealism and nothing, it's not solid. So he was almost, because they were looking at the physicist who was saying
he was in reality, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he was painting.
Reality is fluidic.
Yeah. No, but the point, we hadn't seen that before.
No.
So when Dali came along, he was challenging the mind to, like, if he held a sign up to say, none of this is real, you need to find out what it is, and then go with that. He didn't. He did it through surrealism, and not only him, a lot of other. Paul Klee, I think, was another one. And like like music. So how much music? Look how music has changed, and what's the message that is coming through music? Because if you go,
they're all fake. All bands are fake.
Well, this has to be a thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just bands; it's all the. These,
punk, what a letdown.
It's almost like the celebrities running through.
Punk is dead.
Running through a wall.
Yeah.
Well, punk was, I think.
Punk was an era of heroes, I think, for the working class.
It's more an ideology.
No, I think it was just an opportunity to say, this is.
Fuck off to the establishment.
But
well, I think on the ground,
they didn't go against any of this stuff. There was no punk.
Yeah, you look at people like Vivienne Westwood. I mean, she was great in her day. Beautiful. I mean, I loved her costumes and things. Her designs were fantastic. But I know she's dead now. But she turned on everything. She turned against the principles, of what we thought she believed in. And she
Oh,
went
really?
completely on board with all of everything. She was on board with all the climate, the weather, everything. She just
Really?
yes, she did.
Fucking hell.
Unbelievable letdown. And I thought, oh no, not you, Viv.
Yeah.
No.
Malcolm McLaren followed some sort of cult thing about chaos. I can't remember what it was, but there was some. I'll have to read up on it. But yeah, if you read into him,
A following on, not Discordianism, was it?
I can't remember what it's called.
That'd be really weird if it was. Because we saw the
I don't know,
Discordia lorry twice yesterday.
My rebuke to that would be, because you've thrown that into the conversation, my rebuke to that would be, because you used the word cult, you know, you could say that about Christians, you could say that about Islam.
Yeah.
So because someone, I mean, I personally didn't like Malcolm McLaren as a person.
Yeah.
I thought he was a very shallow person. But I didn't know him, so
Yeah.
people like that I never really took much notice of. I mean, I there's some bands that I liked, some punk bands that I did like, but for me it was always like my friends around, and it must have been for you as well, Tim.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you might play some music, but it wasn't like it is now, like sort of celebrity.
No.
But yeah, cult. I mean, that was the other thing I said about Christian dogma. So, I think that's a huge cult. I think Christianity, I think Islam, I think all the Abrahamic religions are huge cults. I don't use the word cult, and it gets on my wick a little bit that it's always turned round to, oh, they're worshipping something that's pagan.
Yeah.
Because it's always vague. Oh yeah, it's the pagans. It's the pagans that are doing the cults.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the kind of
yeah.
whole theme of, I think that first part of the question, is I kind of woke up to that, and it's right in your face. It's screening who's the cult, who has the most members, because it certainly isn't some obscure occultist group.
No.
It's the Christian.
No, it's Christian.
It's
Christianity is the
Judaism.
biggest. Yeah, it's the
It's the
biggest.
biggest cult.
Who's
biggest
the
cult in the world.
Well, the thing is, you've got all conspiracy theorists, and there is a slight rise in this ideology of cult, Satan, satanic. Who's causing the problems at the moment? Because it's not cult, Satan, satanic. It's Israel, Ukraine, and most of those are Christian. Although there are Muslims in that country, and Jews. Yeah, they're the ones that are unstabling,
Destabling everything. Yeah.
But no one says they're a cult.
No.
No one says that they are in any way insidious. So you know, it's like I suppose I'm kind of, you know, going back to that question: what wakes you up? That's why I will not attach to anything.
No.
I think,
No.
let me just have a look at it. And that's when you get it. You go,
Yeah.
well, hold on a minute. Who is causing the problems at the moment?
Exactly. I think. Obviously, learning through people like yourself, and understanding, like, well, what is the actual attachment? Whereas before I'd go, oh, I'll probably take it on board with everything. I was like, oh, well, that's how it is. But now I'm learning to step right back and ask questions. What do I read? What do I see? What am I believing? What am I really seeing here? What is really going? I mean, what do? I find something, and immediately I start going into its background. Even if it's a company or a person, I start looking into who's running it. Who's running this? Yeah.
Yeah, I find it really difficult when I did with Rolf Harris. I found that really difficult because I liked Rolf Harris.
Yeah, it's
He's
really
an
horrible when
artist,
that happens and your
And
heroes
I found-
become
I thought, well,
Romans.
I like Rolf Harris. He's, you know, how are you supposed to feel about him? But when you wake up to you're being controlled and manipulated, it's okay to feel like that because he's a genuine. But what's really weird about that is he was acquitted of all those accusations.
Yeah, exactly.
When he was, because he did the time for it, but he had it retrialled and he was acquitted for, there wasn't, what it's deemed that there was no evidence to have put him in prison, and it was all, the stuff that was put into court was not, well, that's legal, I suppose, for want of a better word.
It was hearsay, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was hearsay. So it's, I don't know, it's bits that has to be said that I think because it does, because I sit in that area, it's like and these are people that are not even Christian. Because the only people that worship Satan are Christians, because they're the ones who keep him alive as a thought form.
Yeah.
Satan. They talk about him all the time.
Yeah. Satan comes up from hell, and and hell is a Christian concept.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Heaven, hell.
So I think it does a sort of disservice to kind of that perspective. I don't know. It's it's subjective, because cult is a subjective thing. Because if you're in the cult and you're happy, then what problem have you got? But what is a cult? How does that arrive? How does it appear? Are we talking about David Koresh, those kind of things, or are we talking about Christianity, or are we talking about government? Because that's a cult, like government.
Massive one.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
I'm not sort of saying that those words shouldn't be used, but I'm kind of sort of saying maybe we should start using them in the right places. Like the Labour Party, is that a cult? It sounds like it to me. You all must think the same. You all must do the rituals the same. I mean, if you look at am I going on a bit because I need to share the conversation?
Well, it's 4:15.
Right. Yeah, so all my final bit was so my first awakening was like my geography class. So I think I was in secondary school at Mallory, and I didn't mind geography. It was okay. I had quite a good teacher. The guy looked like Chris Tarrant, like young Chris Tarrant, and he was quite jolly, quite fun. And he always used to get us. So because I was dyslexic, so he used to get he was quite clever actually. He used to say, "Can you draw the maps and colour them in?" So I could do that. And he knew that I would learn with him having quite a verbal lesson. So he would really talk about it quite in a colourful way, like a country or the topography of that country and the economics and so on. But he played this film once. It's like, I think going into summer holiday or something. Remember you used to have a film?
Lazy teaching, and you go to the room and you watch the film.
Big projector.
His teacher put on like Oliver, the musical. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's English.
Yeah, it's still Oliver the story. That was job done.
Oliver Twist is what's the name, isn't it?
Dickens.
Dickens.
It's Dickens, yeah.
It's a musical, but it's still Dickens. Yeah, and then we put this. I thought, oh great, because you did. It's like, oh, he's going to put a film. Great. And he put this. I don't know how to describe it. It was. So with the thing about the Earth is boiling. What's that called that they're doing?
Global boiling. I think they've changed it again though. I can't keep up with it.
Global warming. Climate change.
Climate change. And he put this thing on, and it was about pollution.
Yeah.
But industrial pollution. And it was horrific. It was terrifying. And I think they gave a timescale of, if we continue like this, that the Earth would die. It was a short period of time, something like 30 years.
Yeah, I think it's 30 years.
Do you know what? 30 years was quoted by my geography teacher. He said
oil is going to run out.
The oil is going to run. Fossil fuels will run out in 30 years. Now, this was my geography teacher teaching me back in about 1980, about 81, I think it was.
Wow.
And he said, fossil fuels will run out. We've got to find alternatives because they'll run out in 30 years' time. Now, 30 years later, that was what, 80, 90, 2000. We've never got so much oil. They've discovered more and more seams of coal, immense amounts of coal. There's lots of oil. There's nothing that is missing at the moment. But that was already being fed into our heads that we have to change our ways and everything, because my geography teacher said the same. Basically, we're all going to run out of resources in 30 years' time.
But they still didn't get rid of plastic bags.
No. what my personal experience is and why I'm talking about that is that's the first panic attack that I had, because when I came out of that class, I was having it towards the end of it. It started giving me a panic attack. I started getting this,
yes,
this
yeah,
like
because
thing
you're
up in
young
your throat, and your head is going shh, yeah. And
you thought that the world was going to end or something.
No, it's a physical thing. You have thoughts. You might think the world's going to end, or.
But what brought on your panic attack? What do you think brought it on then?
Because there was something in that, like curriculum, but also in that film, that I didn't understand.
Right.
And I wasn't ready for it.
Right.
So I was being cajoled into.
You felt you was being pulled along without you fully understanding what was. You're right. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Because I couldn't have been almost 12, 13.
That's right.
Like that.
That's when. Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody else was okay. I don't know because I never discussed it with anybody. I started to have a panic attack. It was the first time I ever had. It's over. I was overwhelmed.
Did you feel like you was being trapped into a sort of thought process or something? Do you feel like you was being pulled along into something?
I mean, now I could say that.
Out your control. Or?
At the time, well, the only other time I had that was with The Exorcist, because I went into.
Oh God.
I sneaked into Cathartic cinema. Because I think I was about 13 when that came out. 12, 13, and I watched it, and it really did.
I know, it messed
play
with
on
my
my
mind big
yeah.
time for a long time.
And that also, that wasn't a panic attack. That was like movement in the land. It was quite weird. It was quite odd. Like I'd get very. I suppose it's kind of a paranoia, but I felt very aware all around me all the time.
Yeah. I know. I felt very.
But the point I'm making, Tim, is it changed my mindset, because I'm just a kid having, a childhood, right, playing football and mucking around and stuff like that. But on those two occasions, it's that geography one. That was a very powerful. So I felt very, very uncomfortable for a good while after that. A couple of months after that. The other one, I wouldn't say that was because it was a little bit later on, but. That one in particular, because it caught me by surprise.
Yeah.
Because I was just expecting, I don't know, just a fun holiday.
Yeah, it threw you out sort of thing. Yeah, you expected it to be a lightweight
kind of sort
movie thing.
That kind of sort of wiped me out. I mean, the trigger point for the con was, I think I told you this before, was the wording. So when they locked down.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, prison language. It's like.
And what was that wording? Social distancing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Social distancing. What an anomaly that was. Social.
I am like that. I get like that. I go, I've never heard this. Well, what is this? I am like that.
Yeah.
And not to other people, but to myself. I'm like,
everyone else just accepts it. It's just like, okay, that's a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's completely nothing social about that sort of distancing.
Social distancing.
You're not even social. You're made to feel like. I mean, as we know, people were sort of turning their heads away from us and walking the road and doing everything they could possibly avoid you.
I prefer to beat the traffic than.
Jump in the traffic rather than walk
past
the
street.
So when I heard that, my ears immediately pricked up, and so I thought, there's a spell. There's spelling, and I said to Angie, I need to make a video quickly, ASAP. I don't make videos. Not that kind, not like occult videos as such. I'm more about topography and filming. I mean, I will do something if it's specific. I don't really think I've got a lot to say, because it's the same thing that you come up against. It's like I become a talking head. So what is the point of saying anything to you? Like what you're saying to him.
Yeah.
You say so much, you can't keep saying it unless people do some of that work.
They've got to do their part. They've got to literally want to engage with what you're saying for it to have an effect. And if it goes in one ear and out the other, then so you can only say something so many times, and then they just if it's not getting through, you can't keep on. You're wasting energy. It is energy draining, and you just have to move on and move on. But you've got to stay consistent within yourself. You've got to stay true to yourself all the time. To just keep, as you say, walk that middle path. That middle path. You can't join either one or the other. You just got to walk that middle path, not attached to.
So, the reason I'm saying that with my personal experience is that when I heard those words, lockdown, social distancing, what was that one? Social distancing. Oh, coronavirus was another one. It's like I've never heard of these words before. Not so much coronavirus, but I hadn't actually heard of that before because we were taking the mark of that because it's like corona. It's about the sun, and or I think the corona in your eye, isn't it, or something. But I immediately knew that was casting a hex.
Right.
Well, corona means crown, doesn't it? It means a crown. So again, there's a lot of words.
The crown on the top of the head, where we take information from through the top of the head. Lotus.
The crown on your head, the crown, and corona is used in lots of advertising.
And it's also your sovereignty.
Yeah, your sovereignty. Yeah, your corona. Yeah, the corona. And your aura around you. I think the crown of light, corona around the sun. You know, all those sort of things are.
Yeah. So the link between the geography thing and that, I had the same feeling. Because I could feel it rising up, because I know the feeling. Because I've had it, because when I first got that feeling, obviously it's a very, I don't know if you've experienced it, and it sounds like you have, but it's a very intense feeling. Very intense. It's overwhelming. You feel overwhelmed. And I've had it on a number of occasions. I certainly had it when Emma was first born. But you learn to kind of manage it, and you kind of need to take it down a few notches. Have a bit of a rest.
Take it down, deep breathing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do yoga just for nothing.
No,
I do it because it manages that energy.
Yeah.
But I had the same thing. It was rising. I thought, I'm not sure how I'm going to manage this because I can feel it rising.
So what was your anxiety with that film then? What was? It's just you hadn't realised that was what the film was telling you was going to happen, or it was going to happen, or it's destined to happen, or what was causing the anxiety?
Oh, well, I don't know. I couldn't remember what a specific thing.
Did you feel like your life was in danger at the time when you'd watched it?
No, you're just overwhelmed. You don't feel like your life's in danger. It's a fight or flight thing. You're correct, but you're overwhelmed.
You had so much information you never had before. In one go, in one sort of you're expected to take it all in and process it at such an early age.
Yeah, I suppose.
I suppose because it was the contrast between what you was expecting and what landed at you, where you was expecting a lightweight film, which was probably end of term, that sort of like, we'll have a nice film to watch. You was expecting something easy, and then you get like something very intense, and it's too much to
Well, I suppose I would answer Tim's question is it's difficult to answer what I could be very intellectual about it and say, it's psychological. But all I know is I watched that film, and then after it, not straight after it, but certainly within it, I started getting it, and then it would come and go and come and go. And it was, I use the word overwhelmed because I know that now, but at the time no one told me I was being overwhelmed by anything. All I knew was I felt very like the floor, but there was physical, when you have panic attacks, it's physical symptoms with it. So the floor would move, it's like being on a ship.
Yeah, you feel like
you get very hot in the head.
Yeah.
Your heart beats very, very quickly.
It's a horrible sensation. I don't get it very often, but I know it feels very, very. It's so disorientating.
And it can get to that to the point where you can't even make a simple cup of tea. And I've got to that point, and I had to because I forgot how to do it. Because what it does, it affects your memory. Because the person I was living with had to tell me how to make a cup of tea, I couldn't remember how to do it. It's really bizarre. And I had it as well, driving the car. I stopped this car, the person was with me, I said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I can't remember how to drive the car."
That was my cousin. She was on a motorway. She had a panic attack, and she had to pull over into I don't know what she pulled over, a lay-by or something, on the hard shoulder. And she finally got to my aunt's, my aunt, in floods of tears, absolutely in floods of tears. She does suffer those sort of things, and she said, "I forgot. I don't know what I was doing. I couldn't drive." She said, "My car ceased to work." She said, "I had to stop." And she pulled herself together enough to get home. But she explains that time she suddenly had a panic attack. She was like, I can't drive, and she just managed to get herself over and recover enough that she could gain enough to get herself.
So
do
yeah,
that.
I think that I saw that because I could feel it rising, and I think so. Like with me, I knew immediately what I needed to do was to swap that out because I've done it before, where you go, okay, well, I need to exercise, and it's always, I always find it quite weird because they actually said it, or you can take exercise.
Only for an hour.
So we said immediately.
We'll have lots of those hours.
And one of the
We'll
good things to counterbalance when you having anxiety attacks is like to make yourself tired. Because if you make yourself tired, your body will just go to sleep because it's zonk out. Yeah.
I remember another thing you said to me was that they said that it's a road map or something.
Oh yeah, Boris.
Yeah, and that made you sort of think.
A what map? Yeah.
No, that was a bit later on with the. So when we first went into this whole kind of narrative that they were doing, because it was about how long was it before we went to the stand?
That was about a year.
It's about a year, and I didn't really want to do it because I'd seen a little bit. I was going to go up and join the what's his name? The brother of the ex-Labour leader.
Oh, Piers Corbyn.
Yeah, Piers Corbyn. I'd seen him going up and thought, good on you, Piers.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to come up and do that. He was doing it around Speaker's Corner and stuff. I thought, that's my sort of thing. There weren't many of them, I think it was maybe
No, I remember watching them.
Yeah, Kate come down, she said, I've been up there. I went, oh, you bitch. Why didn't you let me know? I want to come with you. If you're listening, Kate, sorry. And yeah, so coming back to Tim's thing, and I just noticed it's because he was talking about road maps. Because it's like, it was ridiculous, wasn't it? Oh, we need to move to the red zone or whatever it was. I can't remember
The
that.
pink zone, the purple zone.
And but he was talking about road maps. And what I noticed was a lot of people had forgotten why they were here. Because you have a parallel path, which is you have a spiritual path and you have a material path. But there is only the spiritual. That's what we're here for. We're here to, because we're beings of light and very powerful beings in whatever way, shape or form you perceive that. But we're more than just a physical body. Well, that's the way I say it. So what a lot of people are trying to do was liberate themselves, but a lot of people have forgotten that, whether it's from the east or from the west. It's all about liberating yourself from this human experience, because it's fear and pain. Yeah? That's what he said, because he was talking about liberating ourselves from the fear and pain of the pandemic, or the I don't know to call it what it actually was called, but I call it a pandemic, but like from this thing that they locked us in with a so-called a virus. I thought, oh, it's just self-liberation. Everybody needs to get back to that, and that's why I started talking about that. Because that's what I used to do before. It's a daily practice, so you liberate yourself from what it is that's entrapping you. So it might be family, or might be philosophy, or something that's not allowing you to move forward or to grow as a person. I mean, that could be anything. It could be just stuck in a Groundhog Day.
Loop.
But for it to come from Boris, it's like,
yeah.
I just love that as a.
He didn't look very comfortable when he was announcing the lockdowns, did he?
No, I'm sure if he knew that I took that from him, he would look even more less comfortable, even more uncomfortable. Are we going to finish on that one question?
Yeah, I think we've.
I think it might be a question each session, I think.
No. So the second question
was about information.
Where did you get your information from?
Right. Well, we'd already been sort of dipping our toes in for quite a long time, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And
we knew something was up, and we was expecting something to happen, but we didn't know what it was.
But we was already dipping our toes into various sources of information. For a long time, I've been reading on the climate aspects of it. I've been on a website called What's Up With That, which is quite a very good website, literally challenging everything to do with the climate analogy. So I sort of started getting into that already about 3 or 4 years before 2020. That was sort of like leading me, because of course that leads you down to other paths and other websites and different other areas. But again, we was already doing our research. We'd found a couple of really good pickers. I mean, sort of prior, like sort of back in sort of 2018, 2017, the YouTube wasn't like bloody shut down like it is now. It was like full of people able to speak. So you had David Icke up there, and I was also listening to somebody called Max Egan at the time as well.
Yeah.
He was very good. He's from Australia, and he was very good. He's on a more spiritual sort of level, but obviously very much understanding what's going on.
This is all before the
this is all before. Yeah, before he was saying all the things that are going down in Australia that were all false flags, all sorts of stuff to go, with all sorts of different things. We was listening to a woman called Deborah Tavares, weren't we? In Stop the Crime.
She was into building, what she was a builder.
She was I forget what she was part of that, but she was looking into.
She must have been with the 9/11. She must have been looking at that.
She may well have been. She's actually got a website called Stop the Crime, and she was talking about all the different. She was really bringing the agenda.
How being in the building industry and sort of getting places built and legislation and shit. The Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals were coming into everything, and she said that's how she sort of discovered.
She said, and she what I'm dare I.
Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030.
What I'm dare I. She said, well, no matter where you are in the world, she said, go to your local government website, have a look at their Sustainable Development Goals. She goes, they will be signed up to it. This is back in about 2018, wasn't it? They will be signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals. And she said, and they're already infiltrated, they're already taken down, they're already doing this through the UN and through all the other organisations, all the corporations and that, and they're already, it's all to do with money and everything. And I went onto the Dartford website, exactly as she said. Yeah. Sustainable Development Goals, their agenda, the agenda going forward into 2035, what they're going to be doing. Oh, it sounds marvellous.
Yeah, well, people that don't look in between the lines will see it as marvellous.
Yeah.
Because the way they've worded it sounds marvellous, but to achieve their marvellous goals, they will impoverish us all and destroy us all.
But do you think that that's an actual thing?
What is actually going to happen?
No, as in, like, if you move to, say, everything is a thought form, so if you talk about it, you manifest it.
That's it,
Yeah, that's it, as a layer, if you believe that. So I'm not saying you personally, just people in general. Because that's what I see with, so I'm just trying to get my question. So, like, where you're getting your information from, are you then manifesting that? Because I do question that sometimes. I kind of.
Yeah, I did it first. I won't be saying we did it first because we thought, oh, this is definitely set in wood. This is stone rather, not wood, stone. This is going to happen. Oh, this is what they want. But this is only what they want.
This is their wet dream.
This is their wet dream, basically. This is how I slowly changed my perception. That's how we slowly changed our perception. Because at first I thought, well, they've got to be, they're so, they must be so powerful. They must be able to do this. They've got all the means. They've got all the guns. They've got all the knowledge, the know-how, the money to just flatten us, to literally take us down. And then things just didn't start adding up. Things start, and then after a while you start thinking, well, if this was going to be happening, this would have happened a long time ago. I think this would already be putting into place. But then suddenly they've got to bring in something to get people on board, and now they're talking about within 10 years they're going to build this new reset or whatever. And I don't know where it's come from, but inside, none of it makes sense. None of it can possibly take place. None of it can work. There's no infrastructure. There's no massive sort of building of these cities and everything. We're not going to have bloody driverless cars. We're not going to have all this like.
We can't even get a bloody simple app to work properly half the time.
And then the hypocrisy of it all. Yeah, I mean they want to take out all our fossil fuels and run on green energy, which will never be enough to serve us as a country. But they think everything's going to run on it. But they want us to live online constantly. But there won't be the energy for us to live online if we just rely on green energy. So this is all a sort of quite a big, like,
what
big
I find
puffed up
interesting about that
lie.
is just the, like, human nature. I get, I'm sure you guys do as well, but you get a bit bored with it, don't you?
Oh God.
You get a bit bored with
isn't
not
it?
only talking about
It's dreary.
looking online,
It's dreary.
but also talking about it as well. It's like, well, did I get that offline? I'm talking about it.
Yeah, you become so.
It's interesting to begin with, isn't it?
Yeah. You become, but then you hear yourself. You sound like a bloody echo chamber amongst all the
Scratch
others around you.
record,
You
yeah.
do like scratch records, echo chambers, and everyone's saying the same thing. You know, you put comment. Oh, they're
And
going to say something.
do you know what I think that is? I think that's creative people.
Yeah.
Don't you? We get. Boredom is an important thing because it means we need to move on.
It's moved us on, and definitely. And I mean, my time online has dramatically increased. Really, I'm really cut down as to what I watch and who I follow now and who I see. And I'm never been on social media anyway, so I've certainly not got into any of that aspect of it. But there are certain forums and websites. I follow one called the Conservative Forum, a small C. It's not following the Conservative Party.
It doesn't matter, does it?
It's conservative. It's about conserving our life. We are what we're doing.
Big C, small C, don't matter.
Yeah. No, I just want to say it wasn't politically sort of linked, if you like.
I follow the Nazis. Big
and
Z.
And there's another one called Daily Skeptic, which is a really good roundup of all the latest bits that are going on. So, it really helps. So that helps to some degree to get what's going on. But again, I'm noticing more and more, it's all fear-based. It's all fear-based. Fear-based. Every bit of it. No hope. No fear. It's all fear. What we're going to do? Oh, there's only us few people here that are waking up. No one's waking up. No one's in. Nobody wants to listen. Oh, we're doomed. Oh, I'm fed up. We're doomed. We've had it. This country's gone to the dog. And all this. And then you just think,
I'll tell you another good one.
It just doesn't resonate with me anymore. It really doesn't.
I'll tell you another person I started to follow.
So you're not getting the information.
No, because it's all the same.
Another person I started to follow was this New York guy called Harry Vox, and he's got a channel called Vox News. And he'd read all the documents from different government things and different what do they call them? Non-government organisations and lobbying groups,
NGOs,
and all that sort of stuff. And basically, 10 years before all the lockdowns.
Yeah, that was very important. What he discovered, which is a major thing.
I can't remember what form it was. It's called the lockstep.
It was lockstep. I can't remember what it's called. It was something to do with sustainable goals for blah blah blah. It was a Rockefeller document brought out in 2014.
I've got the document as a PDF, and basically it was telling you what they were going to do 10 years ago before it happened.
And they were doing it in literally almost, and it literally put out.
Lockstep means that everyone does it at the same time.
Around all countries around the world.
Yeah, and I think like in the early part of the conversation that we can say that I think what 2020 did was for people like us, when we look back, and we're also looking back for our parents and our grandparents' eyes and stuff like that, you can say that, and I think that's why a lot of your dad is, you talk about your dad a little bit, where he's sort of quite fixed in his ways.
Yeah.
My granddad was quite fixed in their ways.
Yeah, they're quite.
When I used to work in a daycare centre, we used to go, we used to have a lot of people come in who, they'd be quite racist. We had some, quite a lot of our staff were different ethnic groups, like black. There was quite a lot of black people. And they get and we had it took other black people to say, well, no, that's where they come from a different era to what they don't understand this lockstep, what we're talking about. They weren't in lockstep.
No, they weren't. No.
Just a little caveat added into that is that a lot of them were autistic, had Alzheimer's. So that that's what had lifted, that kind of filter.
Well, that's what I'm saying. This whole lot. This is what told me how stupid really they really aren't very bright. Is that they just assume the whole world and all the human beings on this planet are all of one mind, one ilk, one mindset, one sort of way forward. They don't actually see us as individual, intelligent beings in our own rights. They see us all as like cattle, yeah, cattle grade. I mean, not I'm undermining cattle, but they see us as herded animals. They actually use those words. They want to herd us. They want to deprogram us. They want to do this and all this rubbish, but they've got absolutely no understanding. Decalibrate. This sort of language is just it's just their fear. I think their fear that they're losing control. Their fear they're not getting anything. That their game isn't working now. Their project isn't going forward as quick as they like. So they have to sort of try and use language to sort of undermine us and devalue us in every way they possibly can. Yeah. And I think it's because they know that humanity has risen up in a huge way all around the world. People, even if I don't say walking the streets of London on marches is
they've enabled it.
Is the best thing. But what it does do is show. It gives a show of numbers of how many. I remember we went to the first SAM meeting, and it was after that march through London in 2021, May 2021, and they reckon that nearly 1 million people turned out on the streets, and 1 million people awake turning out on the streets, coming together. That was the most fabulous march ever. They were up at the BBC. The BBC didn't report on any of it. But that march brought people together because before then there was no real stand group. The stand groups were just coming together very slowly. They were very much sort of like a new thing. But a lot of people felt very isolated and alone. And when they heard about this march after a year, 18 months of this rubbish,
like a big breath.
They came down in droves to be in London, to be together, to be with other people. And the energy was absolutely huge. And they knew, and they could see the streets, the people. I mean, you and Dave were up there, and it just went on for miles. I was watching it online, and it just went on and on. The people were just walking.
And no one was wearing masks.
No one was wearing masks. Everybody was free to express themselves.
Shoved it up the narrative.
Shoved it up their arse.
Shoved up the narrative
because there was no spike in
numbers after that. Nothing happened.
We were all together, close proximity, no social distancing, no masks. Just walking and being human, and just saying this is rubbish.
And I think that was a massive
absolute rubbish.
Point. Yeah.
We don't believe it. We're not going along with this.
And I think it showed. Hang on.
And you can't have 1 million people in London and it not. If it was a proper pandemic.
No, if it was the plague, you would not be going outside your house.
And also, for all those 1 million people that weren't on the streets, there was millions more who couldn't make it, didn't know about it, wanted to be there, couldn't be there for whatever reason. There's millions more around the country still seeing and waking up as well, or just seeing it for what it really is, really a complete fake. And it just showed. And I think, and all around the world, there's been huge demonstrations. They've been in Holland, in Canada, in the US, even in South America, or around Europe. These demonstrations, and in Australia as well. These demonstrations have been massive. They've come down quite a lot now. They're quite. But I think it doesn't matter because people are awake and they don't know the real numbers. And sometimes not having people on the streets keeps it dark. They don't know.
Track you.
They can't track you.
They can't see you on the street.
No, and if you don't, if you're not always, if like us sitting here talking right now, we're not like on the phone sort of talking with each other. We're talking together in face, in private. Well,
In private on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah. Is it?
No, but it's that it's that cathartic thing, like the march. It's kind of what we're doing here. We're not having a march, but we're talking about quite personal things which affected it. And we did go through that.
How we feel, how it really affected us.
Like Anna Breezy's thing when she was giving people the mic and saying how they felt about it.
And you could see the frustration on so many people's faces, and the anger as well, and it's just it did so much to try and destroy people in so many different ways. And so, all this all built as information. Going back to the information question, all this became part of our information sort of portfolio, if you like. So many people. I mean, lots of people now I've sort of moved away from or dropped, or they've moved on as well. They're not on certain channels or whatever. But they all formed, and I kept notes in the early days. I've got a couple of notebooks full up of all the things I kept on different dates where I've watched them and made note of them, kept websites, kept all this information to hand so I can refer back to it. And all the
Mine was the walking. Yours was keeping the.
Writing. I wrote loads. I journaled everything in the early days.
You were walking in your. Writing.
But now I just keep a personal journey of myself, my own journey. I'm not writing everything. There are things I keep writing down if it's important. But there's fewer people now I follow. But those I follow are the ones I've stayed with for a long time. Who's the other? Windows on the World. He was a terrific.
He's brilliant.
He's straight down the middle.
He's one of these people who is not an echo chamber, and he tries to come up with solutions rather than just like do.
He's very experienced in law, in common law, in not just common law, but real common law.
And he's got a very good sense of humour, which I always think is good. Shows
and he's quite spiritual, but he doesn't fall into any sort of particular. Because a lot of people, I tell you, we did get pulled in by a lot of people doing what we call hopium, a couple of channels, that Charlie Ward, and there's a few others that sort of you felt like were giving you hope at the beginning. Oh, this will be over soon. It will be done.
The white helmets.
The white helmets. We're all going to be. You know.
I think that was one of the things.
Sit back and we take control.
Like the whole experience of it was you forgot to live your life.
Exactly. Yeah. My whole life for 2020 was absolutely on hold.
Well, you think about this decade, when it immediately turned into the 2020s, this was when we was all stopped there. It hasn't really been a 2020s.
There was no life.
Not like a normal decade.
There was no life in 2020, really.
Well, it was all centred around this.
And controlled for you. You couldn't.
I said to Helen when we were sitting in the garden at breakfast, like right at the start, we was really sort of panicking. What is going on? What is that? And I said we're going to be talking about this every single day
for years to come.
For years, because it's the main thing, isn't it? And you've got to get.
We talk about it, but no one else does. Nobody else wants to talk about it. It's like, oh, apart from ourselves and others, we've come together with.
I think it's that they've relied, the government or whoever's in control of running this has relied on people's absolute laziness.
No, also as well, they also use an incredible amount of behavioural psychology on the public. And the public are very malleable and very easily controlled in that way. And they've got, the whole SAGE team consisted of a huge number of behavioural psychologists, not epidemiologists, not virologists, not actual men of actual medicine, or women of medicine, but all these behavioural scientists. They had a whole group of people dealing with the Spy B group, didn't they? And the Nudge group, all pushing to get behavioural changes within the public, to make them, force them to do as they're bloody told.
Do you know what's really interesting though, is when they said, because it was 3 weeks to flatten the curve.
I said to my brother it would be
not
3 weeks.
2, because people remember 2. We remember 3 because we said at the time, well, that's 21 days.
3. Yes, right. It was 2 weeks.
No, it was 21 days.
Yeah.
So in order to change a behaviour, it takes 21 days.
Takes 21 days. Yeah.
But what is really interesting is their idea of changing people's behaviour was very quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Unless they're going to come and sit in your house 24/7, it's not going to stick. Unless the people, unless they're really mentally.
Well, I think one of the things. One of the things that we realised at the time was, like the information that we were getting, because it was within that 3 weeks, because everything, people went, okay, fair enough. We're locked down for 3 weeks, and I was like, well, I've never heard of this before. They've never done this before. This is a new thing. But anyway, so where were we getting their information from? But it was that Groundhog Day thing. It was like they were saying the same things again, saying the same things again, saying the same things
that's
again.
when I tuned out. I was on BBC. And then they were just saying the same thing over and over and over.
But not just BBC. It was
all the
UK Column, one of them.
Yeah, they still are.
Watching UK Column because it's like
just
keep repeating
and then jumping on a different, but then jumping onto a different subject, like what Putin's doing, or what they're doing in Korea, or what they're doing in Japan, or I can't remember his name. What's his name? Guy like in Japan.
Oh, not old.
What's his name?
Corbett.
Corbett report. Yeah,
Corbett.
no, he's we watched.
He was just going around and around, and I used to, from 2020, I used to watch somewhere around there, we started doing it. Like right from the very beginning, like watching what you were talking about and stuff like that. And it's just you get caught in a Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just go, I'm really bored with this.
Yeah, I know.
Because I like difference, don't I? Because one of the things that I'd never noticed it before, but Angie noticed it. She says, "Oh, you like difference." I, what do you mean? I don't know how you would explain it, but I do.
So from a soul realignment perspective, so if you so each soul is, you could say it's like a leaf on a tree. So every leaf has a similar structure, but there'll be bits about that leaf that are slightly different to the next leaf.
Yes, unique leaf.
So our soul has a blueprint. Yeah, that's what it's called, and there'll be slight subtle differences. So in one of your blueprints, because there are I think there's 3 or 4 different blueprints to your soul. So in one of these blueprints, you can douse for how your soul likes to manifest reality. Yeah. So for Ian, I like people of a like mind. Yeah. But for Ian, people of a like mind, a room full of people of a like mind were boring and senseless. He likes people who display completely different things to what he, whether it's, it could be anything on any level.
Yeah.
I think that's
It's that different.
I think that's why I liked growing up in the 80s, because you used to go to all these parties and there'd be all different types of people, and Independent Copperfield was a good pub for all different types of people.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and that's what I just found. That for a while, I'm done 3 weeks. That's fine. I'm not doing any more. and that's where I arrived. I know exactly, because I called it out. I said it's a hex.
Because we used that time.
After 3 weeks, I was done.
We used that time for research, didn't we? And we set, we set a daily practice, yoga, kundalini, and meditation. So we set all those things up, but we also spent time, and I think we were doing walk up to the bridge and back, because
that's more for my anxiety, because I wasn't going to let that, because I probably would have gone mad. I would have, because it's so overwhelming.
I was crying because I'm like, we're never going to go camping again.
Oh yeah, I think we went through a massive, that relates more to the next question, but the change, the feeling of despondency, but also
and collective.
Yeah, and collective. But the only place I found that we could get to, which helped out a lot, was the park.
Oh yeah.
And it seemed like people. It seemed like, and I was hoping and praying that I could connect with somebody in the park, because so many people were just acting normally, being normal, just playing in the park. We took food
we started
into the park.
going to the park.
We just sat in there and just
we probably saw you there.
Yeah, we probably did.
We'd go and do the food shop before I could figure out a way to get food online, because there was no fuck all in the bloody shop.
Oh yeah.
So
we'd
go and sit on a bench.
We go and have a cup of tea. When it was open, and then they closed it because of the pandemic.
Yeah, then they closed it.
I tell you what, we used to go to.
Because we were going into a Squires. And the guy's like, I'm not closing down.
I know, he made a point of saying that online as well. He said it on, was it Kent Online? I think it was. I'm not closing down. He said, not going to touch my bloody.
Yeah.
Well, I know in words to effect, but not verbatim.
But then he said, I remember him
his
saying.
wheels come off.
Well, yeah, because he was standing in the door. We were walking past, and we were talking to him. He said, he says, I've been threatened. If I don't, it's a fine. And there's I call him Cockman, Hancock,
Hancock,
saying, we never said that, we never did that, we didn't threaten anybody
else. There are only rules, because he broke the rules. He broke the rules.
There's lots of occasions when I thought, it's over now, this is over. And one of them was when Matt Hancock was pretending to cry on television.
Loving on TV, yeah.
Oh, and laughing.
And laughing.
That really
surely this
sinister.
Because we saw it on YouTube, right? It was on mainstream television. Everyone must have seen it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, you can see how fake it is. Can't you see you're being played? Can't you people
Yeah,
wake
it was
up?
over
Wake
after
up!
the 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was.
Because they said 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
what they did, because if you see it as a like a hex, so a hex would be something like, so you'd have to go to a fairy tale. So exactly in a fairy tale, so the witch comes along and she hexes this person, and their life is just troubled after that. Oh, it's the hex or the curse or the you see it in what's it?
Shrek.
Shrek and the Sherlock Holmes one with the hand of the best of like the family catastrophe.
There is a very good night. Did I tell you about the 1922 film called Hex? The story of witchcraft.
Hex or Haxon?
Haxon, but
Haxon.
yeah, but it's about similar. I'll tell you about that later. But I'll tell you about that one.
So the
It's
3
called
weeks.
Haxon.
The 3
Haxon,
weeks
yeah.
is the spell.
1922 film.
Haxman.
Which,
Haxan.
Angie kind of hinted at with the 21 days. So knew that.
Yeah.
But it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So anybody
I've got
that
a T-shirt that says this is the longest 3 weeks of my life.
so after that 3 weeks, if you were continuing it, you were still hexed.
Mm.
And people still are.
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
reading
They
that.
still are,
People
yeah.
are still hold.
Yeah,
are
we
still
saw someone on the
shielded.
bus
Can you
yesterday.
see,
Yeah.
can you see that as the hex?
Yeah.
Now?
They're still
It's
under
not
the
like-
under the trance.
Like you
Mel.
could say,
Don't
and
come
I
out of
think
it.
that's kind of what
Yeah.
you're saying about your relatives. If you shook them and said, you know, wake up, wake up.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're doing that for 3 years, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I bit on the
So,
airplane.
what is the answer? What is the answer to that? What's happened to them?
Yeah.
'Cause that has to be.
They're not. They
hex.
seem different.
Exactly. That's exactly what. As Joe, I've written that. I've written that in my thing here. Hang on, where did I write it?
It's Christmas.
It was like a spell had been cast
Yeah.
over people. I've actually written that in my notes here.
You can change that now to it
It's
was.
it was, yeah. But that's it. That's what I'm saying. How did that's another question further
But
down.
quite
but-
strange behaviour, like what you're saying about that woman who was standing in the corner. She was like,
Oh, Natalie, yeah.
yeah. It's like, that's odd.
Mm.
That's someone
That's
who,
what I said it was. I
The
said that's
weird
strange.
glitching person that we saw at the hospital.
yeah,
We didn't. Did we tell you about that?
yeah, it did, and walking into the wall.
Mm.
Yeah.
NPC, you were saying it was.
We've seen some weird people around town, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Like you
You
see.
did mention it, yeah.
Like you see people
garden.
taking the mickey out of, like
Yeah, they
walking
know.
into the wall. And it's like, what is going on there? Fucking hell!
The
So I
police
think, I think we got our information from, I think initially we were kind of linking to some of these people that had their own perspectives and stuff. I think it was just a little bit more of not trusting government and the information that they were giving.
Oh yeah.
Because I did look on the government website, so we use the government website.
Yeah, we did. We looked at a lot of government websites. We've got the ONS as well, and we're looking at the stats and the figures and what they were putting out, and the actual and all the mandates and all these rules and things. And you actually read them, and it's nothing like what really they were putting out to the general public to make you adhere to rules. Because the only law officially that was made, the only law that was passed, was that no more than 30 people could gather. Everything else was
But was
rules
that
and
an act?
mandates.
It was an act,
I
wasn't
know,
it? It wasn't
an
an
act.
actual law.
No, it was an act. Or whatever. But that was the only thing that was put down as like you could not do under the coronavirus emergency act or whatever it's
And then
called.
I think
Yeah.
after that, I think
And
because
then, as soon as the police turn up, just divide. Now we're two groups of 15. Three groups of 16.
well, they can only arrest you if you are, causing, a breach or breaking the law. And gathering in like large numbers, you're not breaking the law. It's
No.
just,
But that's the only act
how
they
do you
made.
prove that?
They made a law because they said you can't gather in 15 more than 15
No, but you
people.
can't prove that because let's
Oh,
say
yeah.
you've got 50 people, they're not stuck together.
No.
Oh, I don't know you. I don't know them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
a ludicrous idea.
But-
You're just 50 individual people.
But it was
Yeah.
never. It was. Like I mean, that's what shocked a lot of people. We like we hug in the streets, didn't we? And we was hugging earlier on.
We was eating chips
Eating
together.
chips together, but there was never a law
Yeah,
to
but
say you
back-
couldn't hug somebody in the streets. You could do that no matter what.
No one ever told anyone to wear a mask in the street either. They all did that themselves.
I'll tell you why I know that is because, like, before when I was going on protest, one of the things that the police used to do in gathering information, they would ask you, what are you here for? So I always go, well, it's none of your business.
Am I under arrest?
So they're trying to gather information to see how many people are turning up for a Pacific demonstration.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's what they do. They if they can do it by association. So if you ever get this in the future, if you gather in a group, tell everyone to not answer the police.
No, that's right.
If they do feel they want to say something, say, make sure it's all different answers. I'm here to
cut the grass.
Cut the grass.
Cut the grass, yeah.
Thanks,
Here,
you.
looking at the
Well, they
trees.
can't argue with you, can
I've got to
you?
see my mum.
Yeah.
I mean, you can say it with police. I mean, I don't know the full law, and I think you for your own benefit is to be cooperative, I suppose. But you can also say if it's really unnecessary. If they ask what your name is, just say, "Am I under arrest?"
Yeah.
No, then I'm free to go.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
you walk away from this situation.
And Ian is living proof of that because
Yeah.
it's what he had back
Yeah.
in.
You don't have to.
Oh, blimey, that was 2016.
2016, yeah.
Yeah, they've got to have a reasonable excuse to confine you or to stop you or to ask your name. They've got to have a reason to do so. And if they're just gathering information,
Well, to be honest, I mean, when I had that experience, I knew that they have to arrest you because it's in. For anybody that's listening to this, it's in the reading of your rights. That's all you need to know is if they're going to arrest you, then they need to do it and then read you your rights, because as soon as they read you your rights, you get your rights.
Yeah.
You have the right to remain, and they tell you have the right to remain silent, you have the right to have representation.
Yeah.
You don't speak legalese, and then they process you.
Yeah.
And that's the problem when you get processed. You're processed by it because some of them, they bring their own personal positive or negative. No, there are some positive people in these organisations.
Yeah.
But they bring their own
baggage.
So you want to make sure you go through that. So you want to get your legal representation as quickly as possible. But all the time they're dallying about fishing on a fishing expedition. Well, why are you here? Well, it's none of your business. Why are you here?
Well, in a public place.
Yeah, just because you're wearing that, costume doesn't give you the right to tell me. And that's what you say. Have I broken the law, officer? Well, no. We're just questioning you. I'm free to go my way then.
I'm free to go, and then you just move away. Yeah.
Guys, it's just past 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So what time's your cap up?
I think it's 6.
6.
Yeah, 6 it is, isn't it? They will turn up.
They'll turn up about 5 to 6.
They just turn up whenever, don't they?
So the questions that we've got left.
Oh, we could do this on another because this has turned into really good. This has been really good.
Yeah, but I want to pick out the meaty questions. Okay?
Meaty questions.
So, how did it affect your mental health and other aspects of your life?
Yeah.
How did you manage it? What shocked you the most? What was your most positive takeaway? Do you feel you can express yourself better now? And was there anything you did at the beginning that you now see as ridiculous?
Why are you bringing that up? I'm not sure.
Because I want to pick out maybe one more question.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, from the ones that we
Do
got
it in
left.
order. Do it in order.
I quite like. Was there anything you did at the beginning that you now see as
Yeah, that's
ridiculous?
quite a good one, isn't it?
That's really cool. I like that one.
I know, we all did daft stuff.
It'll end it on a bit of a higher note.
Yeah.
There
was a little bit when it first started. You thought, well, I can't be totally cynical.
I can't be an arse. And
it's 3 weeks. If this is going to help, then we'll lock down. So we sort of locked down. Didn't like it. But there was one time when they started to put people inside the shopping centre, like saying, "Oh, go along these arrows and do this and do that." And I remember I was racing. I can't remember. I was going to Wilkinson or something.
Rest in peace.
And I knew I had to go in there to get it for that day. I'd specifically gone out there, and I walked in the doors, ignoring all the arrows and all the signs and stuff, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just going into the shopping centre. There's this big bloke standing there. Oi, what you doing? Coming through the wrong door. So I said, well, sorry, what? And he goes,
Was that the slidey doors?
No, they.
Those arrows.
No, but you've got
There's two
the doors that slide, and then you got the two.
I can't remember now, but there was two sides. One you could go out of, and one you could come in of. And I went in the ones you.
But they're close together, aren't they? It's not
Yeah,
like
very
they're
close together,
they're
yeah.
like, you know, like
Yeah.
50 feet apart.
Yeah, and he basically said to me,
Yeah.
"You've come in the wrong doors." And I thought, I've only got to get one thing. And I thought, I don't want to argue with this guy. And I actually turned around, went out, and I thought, should I just go down the road and come in the other doors around the back, or should I just come back in again? And as I was doing, I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? Why don't you just tell him to mind his own business? You know, I'm just walking. I'm in here now. By coming in the wrong door, I've either given you COVID or you've given me COVID. I don't know. And I just let me mind. And the most ridiculous thing I ever went through, and I've never been back to the pub, was the Albany in Albany Park pub. And my brother had retired, and none of his friends would do anything. He'd been to a late meeting or something. So I said, look, Dan, as it's your retirement day, I'll come and have a drink with you. And I said, he lived in Sidcup, and I said, you can walk across he lives near Five Arches. So I said, if you walk across Five Arches, I can get the train to the station. The pub's outside the station, and we can have a drink. And they were just opening the pubs again. So I said, yeah, all right then. So anyway, he got there before me, and he texted me to say he's got a Guinness for me. So there was a Guinness waiting for me, blah, 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 blah. So as far as I'm concerned, the pubs are open, the pub gardens are open. I'm going for a drink with my brother. So I walked in the pub, and there was a table set up right in front of the door, and people standing there, and hand sanitizer and bags, boxes of masks if you wanted them. And I just ignored it all. And the bloke who owned the pub was standing there. And I just walked through. It's a very small, from the door to get in to the door to get into the garden. And I knew Danny was out there. And I just walked through like normal. Like a normal person would walk into the pub thinking, I'm going to the garden, I'm going straight to the beeline to the garden. Oi, 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 where are you going? Where are you going? Same as what I had in the shopping centre. And it was the thing, I said, oh, talking to me. So I went back, he goes, can't just walk stride into the garden. There's rules to follow. Okay, so he gave me this. He went through all these rules, and it's just ridiculous. It was this open room, and there was toilets there, with ladies' toilets there, and they had this, you know, that plastic fences that builders put together to stop you falling down holes.
Oh yeah.
Had that down the middle of the pub. And he's going, right. If you want to go out to the garden, you have to go out.
Love their
You have to go follow
ladies.
these lines here, or follow this line on the floor here.
Well, they
go out that
love
door.
their power.
If you then, when you're out in the garden, you want to come in and you want to use the men's toilet, you got to come in
There
that
are
door,
so much power
follow those lines.
monitors at school.
And there was a men's
If they
toilets
were.
on one side of them, this little, and the fence was only about this high. What's the fence there for? What's the fence there for? So you follow the rules. You don't go across it, and you know. So, and then, so I said, so I've got to come in that door. Like, they had the fence between the men's and the women's toilets. So I was like, I wouldn't be going in the women's toilets anyway, so why do you need a fence? So, and then he goes, right, when you order...
Doesn't go over fences.
That's got everything, mate. It's clever.
When you order a drink, you have to go up to the trestle table and ring the bell. And there was this little
God,
ding, 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 and all the staff was way out of any sight of any people. So anyway, and there was a Tupperware thing. He said, we've got a thing where you can pay on your card, or if you pay cash, you've got to put the cash into the Tupperware dish and stand back until they collect the thing, and then they will put your change in the Tupperware thing, and then they will
How much longer is this going?
retreat, and then you can take your change, and then you can go back down the right correct lines back to your seat in the garden.
Oh,
So he went through all these rules. He said, and he was really being patronising. He just goes, "Have you got that?"
Oh, God. No, sorry, can you repeat it again,
I said,
please?
no, could you repeat it? And I made him go through the whole lot again. I said, oh, I thought that's what you said. And then I went, and there was people, they put up a tent outside that you could sit in and you could smoke in.
Oh, yeah.
But you had to wear a mask in there.
Really?
Yeah, and there was people in there.
with a mask on.
And there's people in
Yeah.
there, like sitting there with their drinks and with a
Pardon me.
fag, going. And it's just like, I'm like thinking,
Well, they wouldn't be able to hold.
no!
It's like you couldn't hold a fag and drink your beer because you got to fiddle with your nappy, haven't you?
So anyway, I said to my brother, I said, I'm not staying here. So I know you bought me a pint. I'll have a pint with you. I said, I'm not staying in here. I'm not doing all this crap with the rules, and it's just ridiculous. What's that fence doing anything like that? And he was pretending to sort of agree with me. And then when we left, I think we had another pint. I think we actually sat inside in the smoking bit and didn't wear a mask. There wasn't a mask on. But when we left, the thing that capped it off was my brother sanitised his hands on the way out. Just no.
Yeah, I actually managed to keep out of much of the stuff. I just didn't engage with any of it. I stayed well out of it. I didn't wear a mask. I just got those stupid little card things, and they said, are you exempt? And I said, yeah. Why are you exempt? I said, because I've got a photocopier printer.
I did actually put that on my. There was a little thing you could print out online.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't engage with it. I didn't go to anywhere. I didn't go to any place that was enforcing any of this crap. There's a couple of places during 2020 that stayed sensible. We went in there, restaurants, cafes, or whatever, and whatever. We stayed quite out of it. But the only time I felt I had to go along with it was when I went up to the doctors. But even then, I just cut free. I just grew a pair of balls and a backbone, and I just thought, well, I'm not doing this anymore. But right at the beginning, the early bit, not right at the beginning because they didn't want you to wear a mask then, but right as a sort of mid 2020, have you got a mask? Have you got a mask? And I said no. What I had bought, and I wasted money on this, was one of those visors. Because they wouldn't let me in, they wouldn't see me, and I had to get my blood test done and everything. So I wore it the other way around, like a dog.
Yeah.
I just sat there with
Upside down,
I still felt stupid for wearing it, but I thought, I don't feel as stupid as the rest of you lot with your bloody. I just sat there like one of those dog lampshades.
Yeah, but that's a bit of comedy, isn't it?
And I only did it once, and I thought, oh, to hell with this, I'm out. And they did a couple of times. And you got that? I said, no, I'm exempt. They went, where's your cards? And you think, oh, yeah, I look for what it's worth. It's about me nothing.
Yeah, I did print up some.
And I just said, no, thank you. They said, could you wear a mask? I went, no, thank you. I said, I won't be wearing a mask. And then I got called out by the nurse. The nurse wasn't wearing a mask either. And the few times I went in there, they didn't bother me after that. They didn't bother me. But I had to wear this stupid visor. And I regret even spending bloody money on it. It was only about £2. But I thought, let's have a laugh here. Let's have it upside down. Let's make it look like a dog collar, like a dog lampshade. Dog lampshades. And that was it. But the other thing I was really annoyed about was having to see my parents, because I wanted to see them, but I felt like I couldn't go into the house because my dad, unfortunately, was quite argumentative people. He'd upset a neighbour across the road, and they were nosing that, and the people next door to him weren't very. The person next door to him wasn't very nice to. Well, he just wasn't. It was a bit of a curtain teacher.
Yeah.
And
nothing wrong with that.
yeah. Well, no, nothing wrong with that. But this guy
that's
was
very English.
Yeah, but he was a bit vindictive. He was always complaining. My mum and dad were the quietest people on the planet. And if he had to flush their toilet at night, he'd complain or run the boiler or something to get some hot water. Yeah, that's sort of like pettiness.
Yeah.
So I thought, I don't want to cause because my dad was already very ill. He was only about a year before he died anyway. And I didn't want to cause them any aggro. So I felt like I was compelled not to go in the house because they're on the corner and they're in view of everybody. And I thought, if they see me go in, what's the point in that they'll start something and complain or do something, or if this gets any worse, will they sort of like, will they tell the authorities or tell the beak or whatever, or will people be checking up or whatever? And I didn't want my mum and dad to get into trouble. So initially I felt compelled to stay outside rather than go in. And then my mum's going, oh, for Christ's sake, just come in. She's going, for God's sake, stop staying out there. And we just looked round first. Yeah, right, go in. But I stopped doing that after a while. I just went straight into my mum and dad's house. But initially I didn't. But I feel like, why didn't I just go in? Because I felt like my parents needed our support as well, and my dad was not well. He was very deaf and he couldn't hear everything. He understood, he was quite isolated himself, and he was getting a bit confused about what was happening around him, and I felt he needed us around him, not isolated. It was horrible. It was really horrible, and I felt I think
in anything like that's, you can imagine the similar sort of thing going through like the Second World War or something like that. You've got to manage people with dementia.
Yeah.
You know, getting down in it. You know, it must have been absolutely terrifying.
When people really are ill.
So I get that.
Yeah.
You've got to manage.
You've got to manage it carefully, because even my mum and dad, my mum said, I really regret it, because she said initially, because they were going to a lot of hospital appointments, and they were refusing you at the door if you weren't putting a mask on. She said, I hated it, your father hated it.
Saying that.
Yeah. And they really,
not
really.
Straight away, though.
No, but they really did like lay the pressure on. And my mum said, you know, initially we did put them on because we just didn't want any grief. It was too much to handle. And Dad was getting upset as well and getting a bit, you know, not confused, but he was, you know, and it's hard on my mum who was looking after him at the time. So, yeah, it was horrible. It was wicked. Actually wicked what they did to people. To make them do things, especially with all the things about care homes and not allowing people to see their loved ones, not being with their loved ones in hospital for whatever reason. Wicked, 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 wicked.
Yeah, I suppose, what was the question again?
Was there anything you did at the beginning that you now see as ridiculous?
I don't remember, because I just refused the whole thing. I just would not do any of it.
That's right.
I did queue up outside Sainsbury's and I was moaning about it all the time. Why the fuck are we queuing up?
Yeah.
And he was going,
Yeah, did you have to split? Did you was compelled to split up, weren't you? You couldn't.
No, we argued with the guy on the door at Sainsbury's.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, you're trouble, weren't you?
Yeah, we are.
And then he told a cop about their trouble. And we're like, yeah, thanks.
Because I was shouting at him. I was going, what are you standing there for? Why are you, you know?
That Sainsbury's in Dartford?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I got in, so I'm in the supermarket, and there was a couple, a young couple, and I know on the estate. I don't know them really, really well. I should say hello.
Yeah.
No conversations. They've come in behind us as a couple, young couple, and the security guards trying to manhandle him. You know,
physically.
Sorry.
Physically.
How'd you touch him? How'd you cheek?
Yeah.
And I said, whoa. I said, what are you doing? I said, I know this guy. I said, he's a nice guy. Leave him alone. And he did leave him alone. And because he said, well, I'm my wife.
They loved their power, didn't they? These people. They loved their
power. It doesn't make any
power.
sense, because if it was someone that wasn't related to you, you could walk around with them.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't. What is that? It's all ridiculous. I
I
mean,
think I did that incident at TK Maxx because
but I don't regret that.
No. You went in.
Oh right, okay.
I wasn't. He didn't say to me, "I'm going to make you run for it."
Well, I
he just went straight in, and I'm
Yeah.
left standing there going,
where's he gone?
"Oh my god!"
We're on.
I always say, Angie, why are we doing this? So that's what I would say. I was like, why are we doing this? Yeah, that's the dyslexic thing. That's like, well, why are we doing? Because I question everything.
Yeah. You
So why are we doing this? Well, I'm just going in.
Yeah. And did they say you had to wear a mask and everything?
I don't listen.
Oh,
They did chase me down the shop.
Yeah, the manager.
Well, you got to wear a mask. You got to wear a mask. And I said, no, I don't.
No.
I've already done all the research. You don't. It's not compulsory. So what are you talking about? Well, it's just that over there. Yeah, all right. Well, I won't be that long. And I was going. I was like, where? And you come down. Where'd you go? I thought you were behind me. There is. I suppose I got one thing, but that's much later on. That's like. So Tina wanted me to take it too because she has this botulinum toxin injection.
No, that wasn't it. That was at the beginning. That was
No,
right
that
at
was
the beginning.
No, that was like now. Because they cancelled it. Remember, they wouldn't allow her to go. So she was in pain, which really pissed me off because she has an 8-week period, 6 to 8 weeks period, and then the pain builds roughly about 2 weeks before she has the top-up injection. So she's in constant, and she's got
that's right, because they were doing.
She loses
they
her
were
motor.
jabbing people, but they wouldn't let Tina go and have her.
So what
treatment.
what this injection does?
Yeah.
I know.
It gives her independence, so she can operate in her house. She can make herself a drink, go to the toilet, wipe her own backside. She doesn't need the carers to do that. But as this wears off, she loses her motor movement, so she's much more like this. Yeah. No, it's cancelled her appointment. So she rang me up and she said, "We'll cancel my appointment." I said, I think I did ring them up, and they said, "Oh no, we won't be receiving." I said, "That's ridiculous." I mean, it wasn't a lot to do. But anyway, she got a letter saying I think it was just before Crimbo, saying your appointment. We've got you an appointment, and anyway, she rang me up and said, "Oh yeah, could you take me up? Because no one else would take me up." So I went, "Well, not really, team, because you know what I'm like." I said, "I'm not going to be doing any of that crap."
Business, yeah.
So, anyway, I went down there. She's got her mask out. She's got her mask. I said, "What are you wearing that for?"
That was on the train. She wouldn't speak to you.
So I went up to her. I said, "You're not going to..." I breathed right in her face. "You're not going to catch anything. Piss off." We've known each other for years, like over 35 years. And anyway, went to the station, got on the bus. The bus was no problem. Just got on as normal, because you get on the middle of the bus, rent comes out, go up, show her pass.
Yeah.
They never ask if I should pay or not. Sometimes they do. Got to the train station and got on the thing. So she's put her mask out. I said, "Well, you don't need to wear that. It's all out in the open. That's just stupid." And anyway, I said, "All right, fine. Oh, you need to wear your ones." And that's when it clicked. Tina, you can't tell me to do something. I'm not going to wear a mask. I said, when I get into a hospital, I will do it then, because you've got to have your botulinum toxin inject. Not a mask. I call a snooty thing.
Snood, yeah. Like I had a bandana.
I said, that's the only thing that I'm willing to do for you, and I'm doing it, right? So I got on the train, I was looking out the window, everybody's got masks on, got up there, walked up to the thing, just a normal thing that I've done many times before. Got to the thing, oh my God, it was like Fort Knox.
Oh, I can imagine.
Why are you here? Where's your mask?
Oh,
so anyway, I just walked in, because I do that, I just, like you two, I just carry on doing what I'm doing, and I react to what was it you said? Because they were doing the test, the test on the head.
I wouldn't let anyone point
I
at my
wouldn't
head.
let a point at my right there. No.
I made them point at my wrist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have it point at my head.
You had to do your hands, do the test on your head, and wear your mask. So you got there. I'm standing there, so it made me laugh. So I suppose that's kind of like, it's not regret, but it did make me laugh, because Tina went, "I'm not using that stuff because it's alcohol in it. It's not good for my hands," which it isn't.
It isn't. It's disgusting.
So they was like, "Well, we can't allow you in then."
Fucking stupid.
I said, "Don't be a sister." Typical London. I said, "Don't be so fucking stupid." She's a disabled woman.
Oh God, yeah, just
give her a
treat
bloody treatment, and we go. No. So they had to get the security guard. So it's me and Tina, like this little. She's tiny, isn't she? She's like, this woman with cerebral palsy, and it's she's quadriplegic, so it's from the neck down.
Oh God.
And security's guard. And the thing that he said, I said, "I don't believe in none of this. Could you just..."
Tell her a bit about the snood.
Oh.
Because you said...
I said, "I've got a snood, I can put that up if you want me to wear them. I'm not wearing one of those things." That's been outside. So I said...
I've been outside.
So I said to him, "Well, that doesn't make sense." I said, "You want me to take all my clothes off then?" You're being awkward, sir.
You're being awkward,
That's when we
unreasonable.
got security guards, because I said, "Well, do you want me to take all my clothes off?" Because it was ridiculous. Well, it's been outside. Well, oh my God, I've been outside.
I've been outside. Whole lot of me. Everyone's outside.
It's like ridiculous. So anyway, security guard come up, and he said, "This is all rubbish. This is ridiculous." He said, "Are you willing to wash your hands?" I said, "I wash my hands all the time. It's not really, it's not really."
That's the least.
I don't really want to wash my hands, but I'll wash my hands if you really want me to wash my hands. So anyway, I went in, turned the tap on, and I put my hands here, and the water was running here. Turn it off. Come out. I mean, "Oh yeah, all right, fine, carry on." It's like complete waste of
Energy.
time for someone, and it was stressful.
Yeah.
And the thing I linked, the reason I tell that story is linking with your one, Helen, about that Tina was in that much fear that she felt she had to wear a mask on the, not only on the train, but right from the beginning of that journey.
Yeah.
So coming back again.
Because they're almost trading off your problem, that the issue you've got, or anything you've got wrong, or something you're doing. They're trying to do a trade with you, don't they? Well, if you don't do that, you won't get this. If you don't do as you're told, you won't get this. Your family will suffer. Your health will suffer.
Yeah.
You will suffer. It's this trade-off thing. If you don't do as if you don't join in the pantomime,
it's obedience
and the theatre with us, if you don't become part of our.
And the thing is, well, Helen, I was the only one
Collective.
that would take her up there. No one else, none of her carers would take her up. I was the only one, the person who had said, you know, I don't really give my monkeys about any of this.
Yeah, because they don't get it, because they know what a bloody nightmare it is.
They
to
were
go.
all terrified.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go.
Well, terrified because of the so-called
COVID.
COVID.
I was like, oh, you should take it up. Come on.
Oh, God, honestly. The mentality
I think
of
they were doing the
people.
jabs by then.
The thing is,
Yeah, I think they started
we-
I
jabbing
hadn't
people
met
by
that.
then.
we've completely come out of this narrative now. It doesn't really exist for us.
It
But
never existed in the first place.
I thought that was everybody. But you meet people like friends and stuff like that, and they're
And
still
it's
testing,
so
and they're still
utterly
doing all this.
sold
crap.
into it.
What?
Yeah.
They're still testing.
Sorry?
It's the chair, I
The
think.
chair, yeah.
I think.
They're adding in
I
now.
can't be too sure with you.
Yeah.
It may well be.
Well, those
They're
It's a
adding
solid.
in.
Jamie
Dave.
Dodd a bit greasy.
Yeah, that's
They're out
great.
into Dave.
Yeah, and there was we went round. But the thing is, when it first started, it was like the most deadliest thing. You know, 500,000 people could die if it doesn't get. You know, we
Yeah,
don't
but that was that
flatten
stupid
the
prediction
curve.
by
But then
Ferguson. Yeah, the.
I went round to a friend's house on one of my drinking nights and went up to say hello to one of the girls there and always give her a kiss. And it's in her kitchen, she's having a cup of coffee, and then she announces to me, "Oh, I've got COVID again."
Oh yeah, that was
I
hilarious,
said, "What?
wasn't it?
You got COVID again?" Yeah, I took a test, it came up positive. So now, you're still testing, you still believe that you've got COVID, but it's alright to sit there and kiss somebody hello, sit in your kitchen, have a coffee, and be surrounded by
Yeah, the
people.
joined up thinking is
But-
not there.
I've got COVID.
I do like
and
that
I
saying
said,
of yours, joined up, thank you.
and I said,
Isn't
what,
it?
I said, what are the symptoms? She goes, "Oh, I had a bit of a runny eye." Oh, okay. So that's gonna kill you, isn't it?
So she fancied the week off. She thought, I've got a runny eye. I'll have a quick test because they know damn well those things don't test for the test that doesn't test for COVID.
I've tested positive for COVID.
And it
again.
comes up positive because it's obviously, you know, those things come up positive, negative, whatever
I'm gonna have to go at these people,
day or
but-
night.
Come on.
Oh yeah, you think by now, wouldn't you, that after all this time, people start thinking.
When you're coming out of it, when you're
But
coming
then
out
the
of this,
deeper entrenched they were, the more entrenched they still have to be because, as I say, it holds the mirror up to themselves, and they know they've been sold a pup and done up like a kipper if they admit that they were wrong.
Yeah, and I think if what's that question again? Sorry.
Was there anything you did at the beginning that you now see as ridiculous?
I think
Oh, shit.
one of the things that comes out of that whole thing was it was ridiculous that I even listened to the government.
Yeah.
I should just switch it off.
Yeah, just,
when you
oh.
said it.
I did make a video called
Do one.
Carry On Pandemic. That was quite ridiculous, but not in the ridiculous in the way that we're saying.
Because I've never listened to them
Just
before.
showing the
because
to
they
be
just talk
completely
so
ridiculous.
much shit.
I'll tell you one thing I did do. Again, you do things and you think, "Oh no, I'm not. That's not how I think normally." And it was in the first 3 weeks. We went to the park, didn't we? Like sitting there, and I bought a sandwich from the supermarket, or I'm not sure if it was in the cafe or the supermarket. But I was sitting on one of the benches,
Mhm.
and you know, the ones where you peel the thing, tear it
Yeah.
up. I remember thinking I was about to put it down and lay it down on the bench next to me, and for some strange reason, my brain was saying, "Oh, there could be COVID on that." bench. I shouldn't really put food
It's
on.
hanging
in
out
case
on the
someone-
bench. It was
someone
Sitting
just-
next to you.
No, but I'm saying someone might touch the bench, and I just thought, no, this is ridiculous. I can't think like that, so I just put it down.
Yeah.
I thought, And you had to sort of get yourself out of the programming really quickly.
Yeah,
because it was pulling you in.
My one was quite extreme. It's like there's going to be police down the road, you know, going like checkpoint Charlie going,
Yeah.
"Oh, sorry, you can't go for your walk today. You've already been for one."
Extra
It's like, and
Oh
hello,
no, that
wakey.
Yeah, it must have been before because I went on that trip up to the hospital because we didn't know what the trains were like, did we, before we went camping? And I went on that trip, and I said, well, there's no problem.
Yeah.
The trains were still running, people were going, still going on things. Some people were wearing masks. Not everyone was wearing masks.
Because it's usually February, March time, and then there's a couple through the summer, and then November. So there's 4, I think, isn't there, or 3 during the year. From
then on, I was saying to Angela, when we were going camping, I'm not missing my camping for this.
And Henry went he went somewhere, didn't he? And he said he never got. I think it was Greenwich or somewhere he went.
I can't remember that.
And he didn't get challenged on the train.
No.
Because my idea was what I was going to do if push come to shove. You know what belly dancers wear? They wear the.
Oh,
I was
the
going to
yash
get
mat.
myself
The
one of
yash
it.
mat.
No, but
Very pretty.
when you got those 2 reports back, that's
Yeah.
when you went, I'm booking. Let me see. Because the thing is,
And they were really good on the campsite.
I think that is one of the dynamics in a family. You always got one person who, I don't know, is ordering like Angie orders the food.
Organiser.
Yeah, he's an organiser. To
Logistics
some degree,
type.
you've got to kind of, go with that. They do that, and I think the confidence dropped. But as soon as you got that report back saying, well, actually, this is not what they're saying it is. It's something different, and you went, right, we're going camping.
Yeah,
that's right.
Gives you your energy back. It sort of puts your energy back up again.
Yeah, that whole thing, that whole camp, because we had so many different, because it was quite funny. Because you had a different shop there, because we had to actually physically go in the shop. Then there was a campsite, because that was so funny in the campsite.
There's no one really doing any of it.
No, when they was arriving, it was so sad because you had young couples, right? They come in because there were no holidays. You were getting quite, middle class people arriving in very nice cars because it was packed.
It was jam packed.
Everybody wanted to go on holiday, didn't they? So they're camping.
Was that the hot one?
Yeah, that was the baptism of fire that we recognised.
Yeah, because camping was deemed the safe option, wasn't it? But people wanted a holiday. The camping was deemed the safe option because it was outdoors and you weren't sort of inside anywhere. You took your own gear, you took your own stuff. So I think campsites were absolutely rammed on.
Oh, this was
in 2020, yeah.
Before. Never.
Because people felt like, I'm safe in my environment, I'm safe to do this, but it did get people out. It did get people to sort of be with nature.
We met some really cool people, and they actually camped right next to us.
People were arriving, so they were in their cars. I don't know, they get out, they get their mask on, into the reception, right? And then you see them following them, the masks gone.
Yeah.
No one on that campsite wore a mask.
Because
I think I saw one person with a chin sling on, and that was it.
Because what happens, they see everyone else not wearing them, and they take them off.
Yeah.
You lead by example every time. That was that one time when you was in the shop, and he wouldn't wear it. When none of us wore masks. I have never even owned a bloody mask because I've never anywhere near my face. But he was in the shop without his mask, and he's queuing up as you do. And he said there was a girl. Was it in front of you? And she turned around and said, "Well, if he's not wearing a mask, neither am I."
Well, so the thing is, when you looked at, it was the transport minister. He did
Shaps.
Yeah, he did a statement where they asked him about masks, and he said, I'm trying to quote what he said. He said, well, we're not saying you've got to wear a mask. What we're saying is because you wear a face covering.
A face
and
covering.
There was a distinction. So they said, well, what's a face covering? And he said, well, like a scarf or a snood or something else. A bit of material.
Yeah, it's something to cover up with our face.
And then he spoilt it by going silly by saying you could make a mask.
Oh yeah, get an old t-shirt, make your own mask. Oh yeah, sure,
Right.
yeah, cool.
So when he said that, because that was before I took Tina up, and I said, well, that's fair enough, because if you're in the winter, you will, you know, because of flu, alleged
Well,
flu.
just because it's cold.
A lot of
if
people
you've
do
got
wear
cold-
like snoods for that reason, especially in bloody
No, but if
northern
you've got a
times.
cold and if you've got a cold and and you're on your own, you've got to go out and get your food and stuff. Not that you'd feel like you would want to do that, but if you had to go out, you would probably, you know, have a scarf over your neck.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the nearest I got to doing that is I've got some nice bandanas anyway. I wear colour coordinated with, well, one for a while, but anyway. But I did have some nice bandanas, and I've got some scarves, and I thought, oh, I'll just like lift it up if I really have to. But I thought, no, I'm not even gonna. I was a bit militant, I'm afraid. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that. And even though I had one of these card things, I actually felt like I don't even have to prove myself. I don't need to wear a bloody mask.
No.
There's nothing wrong with me. If I'm ill, I stay at home.
Yeah.
End of. I always did.
Yeah.
Do you know the thing that blew out the wall for me as well was that they closed down all the little mum and pop cafes. They weren't allowed to open, but McDonald's was allowed to open.
Wasn't it?
And McDonald's had touch screens to order your food, and then you eat your food with your hands. So you're touching all the screens, ordering your food that other people have touched.
Well, that's just disgusting anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, McDonald's per se is disgusting.
Disgusting,
I mean, that's my personal opinion.
How can that?
Other restaurants are available.
They've chosen to close down all the other cafes because they're dangerous, but McDonald's, which is a big corporation, is allowed to stay open.
And how often did you see them
and you
cleaning
order your
it?
food with your hands on a touch screen that everyone else touched through a pandemic, supposed pandemic. Then you go and collect your food that you've ordered by touching the screen, and you touch the food that has been touched by 1,000 other hands, and put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
And so one of the first places, if they're closing down to stop transmission, would be McDonald's, because of the way they operate. I mean, at least if they were to be open, switch off the touch screen so you don't have to touch the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's we go down to Sainsbury's. They've got a cafe upstairs, haven't they? In Sainsbury's down in Crayford.
Yeah, in Crayford,
Yeah.
Now they put in all these touch screens.
Really?
Yeah, that you order your food on before you get to the counter, and they're supposed to. It's too complicated. I try, and you get all these old dears in there trying to sort of work out how to do it.
Oh God.
Anyway, I was starting to do it, and it was just pissing me off. So I just went up to the counter and I said, "Do you have to use the touch screens, or can you just order off of you?" "Oh, you can order off us if you want." But the way they've set it up,
it's
with
the
all these
first
touch
thing
screens,
that you're going to encounter.
and it says about you order your food on touch screens.
Yeah, it doesn't actually tell you can go to the
It makes it look like
thing.
that's the only way you can order your food.
Yeah.
It's like when they put all the masks and shit next to the front door. Like, oh, okay, oh, yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I know. But even there, there's still that bloody hand sanitizer, and I'm still seeing. Oh, I was in a shop. What was it? TK Maxx the other. Was it TK Maxx? Somewhere nearby. And there were still people hand sanitising to go out of the shop. This was recently. This was this year.
Yeah, when you went into
Wow.
I don't get
the
it.
train station, that was one thing I did notice. They had a staff of about 6 people that were cleaning, the barriers in Dartford Station.
Yeah.
So when they had a large group of people go through, once they'd gone through.
Oh, and the banisters up the stairs because it stank.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Disgusting.
And that was one thing I noticed. Another thing because we're going with that question. What's that question again?
Hang on, I'm just adjusting the
What
lighting.
ridiculous thing we did? What was the
Was there anything you did at the beginning that you now see as ridiculous?
I think trying to persuade Sainsbury's to order more food. I think that was ridiculous, me trying to do that. And I wish I'd
the
never did it in
shelving,
first.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you notice before, just before they locked everyone down, they cleared the shelves nearly in all the supermarkets.
Yes.
It was the whole toilet roll fiasco.
So,
They were determined to show you that there was an absolute emergency.
Yes.
The propaganda,
Yeah.
the pantomime, the whole theatre of it all was to like literally stop stocks going out on the shelves.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of stock was in the back,
Yes.
waiting to go out, but they made it look as though they'd run out. Toilet rolls. Oh yeah. Well, they put it in the news, didn't they? Oh, there's been a rush on toilet rolls.
I made Ross laugh the other day when we were talking about this.
And
I said to him, well, I used to order it in bulk anyway, because Henry lived here.
Did you know they played that lack of toilet rolls back in, I'm not sure if it's the First World War or Second World War, but it's been done before.
Yeah.
They've used toilet rolls.
Yeah.
Because it's an essential, isn't it, really, when you think about it, to keep cleanliness and, you know, if you're trying to keep sort of healthy.
I think it's a very personal thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
and you're worried about running out of it. So, I mean, we've all read in our history books that the Romans used to use a sharp stone or a shell or something to wipe their asses, and you think, oh, well,
or a cloth on a stick.
A cloth on a stick, yeah.
Well,
poo stick.
Oh, your hands in the Roman times.
I never really bothered about it because we have a because you have is it B-Day?
B-Day.
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 So
Who's got B-Day?
We don't.
no, we haven't got one. But the point I was at the time was saying to Angie, because you was like, no, I'm not doing that. But I said, well, you can. You just use the shower.
Yeah, yeah.
Every
Oh,
time
you
go
bought
to
yourself a
the
personal
toilet.
I won't go into detail what it is and how it works.
Steph wants to know.
Do you want to know?
Inquiring minds.
I did actually.
I might use it.
I did actually buy one there, and it was quite useful actually. A personal one, a
Well, a
portable
B-Day,
one.
yeah.
It was quite useful.
So
Nice.
no, but what they wouldn't, you know, if you because you only go to number twos probably once a day,
Yeah.
maybe twice if you. Anyway.
Yeah, detail.
Too much detail.
Or 3 or 4
But-
times.
When people go, oh,
Depends what you're eating.
you know, you need toilet roll, you need toilet. Well, you actually don't, because all you need to do is get in the bar
Yeah.
and you
Just
shower.
share that. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just
Recycled
getting
food.
clean in some way.
Yeah, it's only recycled
Yeah,
food.
you don't need to.
But that's that homogenised thing. That's that whole. I know I'm saying that word wrong. Where everything's got to be clean and perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the thought of getting in the bath and just doing a little sprinkle, and then it's in the bath. You got. It's like people are like, oh no, that's dirty, disgusting. I thought, no, that's just practical.
No, because when you get in the shower and the bath, you do the same thing ananyway,
You do
don't
the same
you?
thing.
It's all the same thing.
The same thing.
You know, and at the end of the
No.
day, it's I mean, what I think we're losing is our adaptability in lots of ways, because
Yeah.
we can all adapt to certain
Good point,
circumstances
actually.
very, very quickly and very well. But I think a lot of times people think, oh, I can't do that because I haven't got this and I haven't got that and I've got to buy this and I've got to buy that to function in this world. But in actual fact, we can all function on very, very, very
Yeah, 'cause
little stuff. Very little
When
stuff.
I first come across that, I was at a protest and I
Quarter
took,
to 6. So
Yeah.
just wrap this one up.
Yeah. well, I'll just say this and then
Yeah.
finish. I was at a protest and I'd taken Emma out with me and she brought a friend with her. And her friend called me, so I can't remember what it was. And I said, well, what's that? Remember that girl? She said, your daddy's a something.
Yeah.
And I said, what's that? And she said, basically what the word meant was that what you just said, I adapt to a lot of different things. I'm the sort of person who would, you know, roll your sleeves up, you know, that old kind of, the way that we were brought up by these people
Yeah,
that
get
went
stuck
through
into
the
something,
war.
yeah.
Well, we were brought up like that. They were like,
Yeah.
and what are you moaning about? You know, slap me in the
Yeah,
head.
just get on with it.
Get on with it.
Shut up.
And what are you doing in here? Get out from under my feet. All those sayings that, you know, parents wouldn't even dream of saying that, like get out from under my feet, like throwing, like teachers throwing a chalkboard rubber. Because someone said, because Emma was saying to me the other day that, oh, in your day, the teachers used to throw chalk at you.
That's
I
right,
said,
they did.
No, they didn't throw chalk at us.
Chalkboard rubber.
They throw
Chalkboard rubber, yeah.
chalk at you, followed by a rubber.
Yeah.
Like the big
Which was
wooden
wood,
rubber.
yeah.
Wood thing with like, yeah.
Uh,
Used to get more direct
with,
home.
with your surname coming, no brother!
Yeah, yeah,
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I've
hit
had
by metal rulers was another one.
that.
We've got
Switch
slipper.
on.
Slipper.
Slipper, yeah, rulers. we
Limp
got-
sole.
Did you ever have the cane?
I never had the cane.
I was
Yeah.
gonna
I
get-
thought I was
had
going to get the cane one day, and I actually went home at lunchtime and put on some extra layers of like swimming trunks and.
Put books down your bum back, didn't you?
So I never got the cane.
Well,
I
like
got called into the
Navino.
office.
Well, there is a modern saying, which a lot of modern people, you know, these, what they call those hipsters, they go, oh, I caned it. Right?
Oh yeah, I caned it.
Now that word comes from
Cocaine.
our generation and the
Was it?
generations before that, because that's what they would say. They, you know, you get the cane, and if you were all right, you know, no problem, you caned it.
Yeah.
I caned it, yeah.
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 So I talking about why I thought I was going to get the cane is because I'd got a chalk duster, and I'd completely covered one of the, you know, the little plastic moulded chairs, completely blocked
Did
it
you?
in chalk all over. I got caught doing it.
Child you were.
By the deputy head. Walked in the room while I was doing it.
How old was you?
I was in secondary school.
For God's sake.
I was about 13.
So you knew, you should have known better.
Yeah, I should know better. And he said I have to come and report to him later on. So that this was in the morning, and I had to report to him after school. So I went home at lunchtime because I only lived around the corner from school. And I put on swimming trunks, extra pair of pants, in case of like, because I did. You know, if you get the cane, they don't pull your trousers and pants down, do they? So I thought, well, I'll just have extra layers to stop the. If I get it, it's not going to work as bad.
It depended on the teachers. Like, so I had in junior school, I had a female headmistress, and she'd do it across the back of the legs.
Yeah.
And then when I went up to the upper years,
that's a nasty place. That is. Get a slap on your legs bad enough, but cane, my God.
yeah, it was quite difficult. Yeah, very difficult. And then when I went up to, because my desk was outside the headmaster's office, and he used to do it across the hands, and that really hurt. I never had it on the back side, because I think that was more of a upper class thing, like Jenkins and such. And you know, I never experienced that. Hands and the back of the legs, yes.
Yeah, so they
and
still
the
had
ear
it.
thing as well.
Oh yeah, they
And the
still had that.
clouds. Did you ever have a cloud?
Clown?
Yeah, you'd be mucking them out.
Oh, they go round the back of the head. Yeah.
You ever have that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I was
none of
always
that
talking.
is, you know, like linking to. The only reason I'm saying is linking to what you're saying about rolling up your sleeves and being.
Yeah, you were sort
people
of, you weren't treated with kid gloves, weren't you, as a child? You weren't so precious that you couldn't muck in with everyone else. You did your bit. I mean, you was always made. I mean, little kids now are still made. Mates do their clean up the rooms and do things. But I mean, when we was kids, we used to run actual errands for our mum. You know, we used to go shopping for her. She used to look after my nan and granddad because they were very well.
Do you think, though, Helen, that maybe one of the things that we observe, like our generation, so I know we're not the same age, but we're
not much
close,
between us.
not much between us,
Yeah.
is that we knew what, in that kind of emergency, how a society should pull together. We knew that.
Yeah.
Like although we hadn't experienced there, I think we'd been brought up ready.
Well,
everybody worked together.
I mean, where I lived, and this is when I was writing bits in my book, is that my mum knew lots of people around the street. We all went to school. The kids went to school together. The mums knew each other. Everybody was sort of like knowledgeable with each other.
Is my phone going off?
Where's your phone?
It's in my thing.
Oh, is that then? Yeah. Where's your bag?
Down there.
The bag's here.
Where's
It's
your phone?
in the pocket.
Oh, right. Well, what's coming from here? Okay, so it's all new tech.
There's no car out there.
It's all new tech. So
you're saying about your mum?
Yeah, so she knew all the people. She knew all the people
Thank you.
around the street. We all knew each other as kids. And my mum knew. It was close-knit, sort of small streets we lived in. And people upstairs, we didn't have, we had a telephone, but everyone could just go out in the street and go next door, go up the road, call on anybody at any one time. A lot of mums worked together at the local biscuit factory, the Chiltonians, just around the corner. And the mums knew each other then. All the dads knew each other. Everyone lent tools and, helped out. We had this...
Because that was one of the things I noticed
Community.
that was staying in the park was there was an average age group.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? And I'd looked at other stands,
Yeah.
and there always seemed to be an average age group.
Around about the 40 to sort of 60-year-old, isn't it? It's Generation X.
Because
Yeah.
it was.
Generation X.
I didn't feel that. I didn't think there wasn't. Because people were saying, they kept saying it, didn't they? Oh, it's creating community spirit. I never saw any community spirit around here whatsoever. No one knocked on the door to see if he was all right.
Not anymore, right?
No one. There wasn't anything there was no sense, like what they were saying, like a sense of, we're in this together, and none of that.
No, exactly.
So I think on that level, I think our generation saw that. We saw that this isn't something that is for us. This is something being done to us.
Being done to us, not for us. We know what we're true. Did you get your thing?
Your taxi has been dispatched.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to go and put my shoes on.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I need to find where my
we'll
text
leave it
from is.
there.
It's been brilliant. I'll tell you what, we can come back and finish it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got
It's been good
questions.
in fact, it's been really good to really talk properly. And I mean, I bet you want to edit or do whatever you want. So.
No, we